Good day, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Viper Survivorland, and I am back here with Great Ace Attorney. Also, I am just so off center lately. What's with that? Is that better? Yeah, better. Better. I feel like I just vary too much left to right day by day. Whatever. So, yeah, if I recall correctly, we hit the midpoint of that case in trial, and they went, hey, go find us some more information. So, we're out here. Gonna find some more information. Also, Susato's back. And I should probably actually close out of that. There we go. Cool. 23rd October, 2:41 p.m. even. Naruhodo's legal consultancy. Oh, this room. It's been too long. Hasn't changed in the slightest, though. It's been some 6 months, hasn't it? It's a long time for things to stay so familiar. I didn't know when you might return, and I wanted everything to be as you left it. But it has been some 6 months, it's true. Excuse me. So, is your father alright, Susie? What happened? Father? Yes, Professor Mikotoba. I mean, it was half a year ago, but that's why he went back to Japan. Because of the telegram you received saying he'd fallen ill with a very high fever for some unknown reason. That's right. So I was surprised to learn you'd be coming back so soon. Surprised, but happy. I think I wrote about it in my letter to you, that it was all a trick. My father is in fine health, and I'm obviously very relieved about that. Well, we're all delighted to have you back. It was quite by accident that I've been able to return to Europe, actually. It's because of a very grand conference called the International Forensic Science Symposium. Ah, yes, we've heard of it. Slightly. The International Forensic... That's the same symposium Lord Strongheart mentioned. Anyway, I've arrived safe and sound, and all that matters is that I'm here now. After all, I haven't yet fulfilled my promise to you, Iris. Oh. You must tell us everything that happened while you were back in Japan. Including that time you acted as me. Yes, of course I shall. And there's one other thing. Something you wrote in your letter that particularly grabbed my attention. About you-know-who. Kazuma. I know. I'll tell you all that I can. Alright, start from the top as always. When I first arrived back in Japan, I really thought I'd never be allowed to return to Britain. But curiously, after that awful trial at the Supreme Court, my father's mood changed entirely. The awful trial? Oh, yes. For the murder of Josiah Brett. Oh, you dressed as a man then, didn't you, Susie? Oh, well, yes. Since women are forbidden in the courtroom, I had no choice. Wow, amazing. I wish I'd seen it. Don't you, Runa? Yes, I suppose so. I want to play being a lawyer now. Could wear a false mustache, maybe. I don't think any mustache could hide the fact that you're just 10 years old, Iris. Yeah, man or woman, I don't think you're fooling anyone into thinking you're an adult. Something else I've been wanting to ask you, Mr. Sato. About the real reason why Professor Mikotoba summoned you back to Japan. You said in your letter it was something to do with that convict's loot we found in Mr. Natsume's lodgings. That's right. A very large dog collar we found with the bee emblem on it. Seems Mr. Natsume included a drawing of the collar in the report he submitted about his time in Britain. I understand that when Father saw the report, he turned as white as a sheet. How could that be then? Father came to Britain himself, of course, to study. It was some time ago now, but he stayed for 6 years. I can only imagine that something must have happened during that time. But if he refuses to tell me what it was, then I intend to find the answers for myself. And I've decided that I, for one, won't keep any more secrets. Oh, Susie. It's a very meaningful look Susato-san's giving Iris there. Forensic Science Symposium. Lord Strongheart mentioned something about that symposium, too. I think he said that investigating authorities from 40 different countries would attend. Yes, and from Japan, my father and Judge Jigoku have been invited. It's something of an honor, I believe. Well, Professor Mikotoba is the leading expert in forensic medicine in our country, after all. But who's the other person you mentioned? A judge, did you say? Yes, His Excellency Judge Seishiro Jigoku. You've met him, Mr. Naruhodo, last year in the Supreme Court. You can't possibly have forgotten. That terrible trial of yours when you were accused of murder. Ah, yes, I try to think of that as a positive turning point in my life these days. Well, it was Judge Jigoku who presided over that trial. I'm perfectly honest, I'd be happy never to see that man's face again in my life. Oh, well, anyway. Excuse me. As father was invited to the symposium, he agreed to me returning to Britain too. He won't actually arrive until next month, but, well, I couldn't wait. So I pleaded with him, and in the end he agreed to me going on ahead. Yes, about the symposium. It seems as though Lord Strongheart has put an awful lot of work to make it happen. It's obviously very important. I believe it is, yes. As I understand it, Lord Strongheart has organized the entire event himself. I think he's hoping that by achieving exceptional results, he'll get the job of Attorney General, a senior position in the British justice system. He's hoping to use his power to create the world's finest policing institution. That's what Father said anyway. Apparently it's Lord Strongheart's lifelong ambition. Does Professor Mikotoba know Lord Strongheart personally then, I wonder? Actually, Lord Strongheart gave me a long speech all about this very subject only yesterday. I sort of lost the will to live early on and didn't really listen to much of it. Now trying for you. Ah, yes, the wonderful Giselle Brett. The woman whose unforgivable actions ended in me being wrongly accused of a crime I didn't commit. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, which I guess that's the one thing that, like, people can't immediately read. Yes, Giselle Brett. That's a name I won't forget as long as I live. The extraordinary thing is, though, it seems it's a name we should all forget. Sorry. Since the incident, our government's intelligence services have been investigating Miss Brett. But it turns out that an Englishwoman by the name of Giselle Brett didn't actually exist. Didn't exist, but how can that be? It was a pseudonym. Her real name was Shin, and she wasn't a visiting student either. That was a front. Front? Who on earth was she then? Miss A. Shin. Was she an assassin? Was her first name Ass? Her name is literally all our intelligence services have been able to ascertain about her. Nobody knows why, or even how, she came to be in Japan. It's a complete mystery. But that makes no sense. It's no easy task to be accepted as a foreign student anywhere. What could the woman have been up to? Afraid I really don't know. The only thing we can be sure of is that she had some business in our country that we don't yet understand. And that she's been killed. Well, all the questions surrounding her existence remain unanswered. I'm afraid so. A. Shin. Who on earth was she? And why do I feel as though I heard that name before somewhere? Sure, if I had a better memory, I'd be like, oh yeah, from that bit there place when... What about Cosmo? After my friend Ray's trial, the reporter who actually killed Miss Brett said something very strange. I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on. And that visiting student's fate. Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that guy that never made it to England, that he died on that steamship, and that he'll never... Obviously, I couldn't ask him to elaborate at the time. But later, I visited the man in his prison cell and asked him what he was going to say about Cosmo-sama. And what did he learn? After he died on the voyage to Great Britain, his body should have been unladen at the port of Hong Kong and passed under the care of the consulate staff there. Should have been. But it turns out that his body never arrived. It just disappeared. What? Cosmo's body vanished. Our government tried to cover the fact up, it seems. They erected a grave on the cliffs by our hometown. Except Kazuma-sama isn't there. Did Professor Mikotoba know about this? Yes, it would seem that he did. But he didn't tell me. I'm still investigating what happened to Kazuma-sama's body as we speak. I just don't believe it. What is this acute feeling of apprehension I have all of a sudden? The Kazuma mystery. Thinking back now, some of the things that happened on the SS Bureau were definitely strange. I mean, after he died, we never saw his body again, did we? Could it be he's actually still alive? Stop it, Mr. Naruhodo. It's too much to bear. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Just thinking about the possibility pains me so very much. Cast your mind back for a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. No, he did. When Kazuma-sama was discovered, Mr. Sholmes was there, wasn't he? And he definitely examined the body. I remember it clearly. Ah, you're right. So if Kazuma hadn't actually been dead at all, it would mean that Mr. Sholmes had lied to us, something he'd never do. There's no reason why he would possibly have done such a thing. No reason that we know of right now. I suppose that's true, yes. Honestly, we know he's been hiding things about a specific case, at least. Though we don't know what or why. So, I don't know. I'm not saying I don't trust him. I'm just saying he's clearly been known to withhold information when it seemed for the greater good. I don't think he's actually trying to screw us or anyone else over per se. But I do think that he tries to do things for the greater good, and sometimes that means not spreading information. That's the best I got. As of what we know, like, I don't see any reason why he would lie about this. But they're bringing it up, so now I'm thinking about it. I suppose it's true, yes. The idea that he might still be alive somewhere. It wants to fill me with hope, but I can't let it, because if it turned out not to be true, I'd be back at the bottom of that awful pit of despair again. I'm terrified of what that might do to me. Oh, Miss Susato. I know she's given the idea the thought it deserves. It's Susato-san we're talking about after all. So I probably shouldn't push it now. Right, well, then we've chatted with what we got. I don't know if showing her anything is going to help at this point. I mean, we have to do this one now. Still taking good care of that armband, I see. I'm so pleased. Oh yes, it feels like I wouldn't be me without it now, to be honest. Oh dear, there seems to be a thread coming loose just there, look. I'd be only too happy to mend it for you, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, thank you. I must have scraped it against something again. I'm always doing that. Now take better care of it, please. It's all going so well, till I ruined it. I don't know if any of the other stuff's going to help right now. Alright, there we have. Oh, we can't move, so there's got to be something else we can present. Newspaper? Not this paper, Mrs. Sutter. Yes, it's all about the great exhibition. I've been dreaming about it, you know. I was sorry that you were going to miss it when you were called back to Japan. So was I. Felt desperately unlucky. But here I am, back in London while it's underway. It's a dream come true. Perhaps you're not as unlucky as you thought then. Once we've helped Professor Harebrained out of this terrible situation, we should all explore it together. And of course, we must invite the Professor's good friend Lord Van Zieks as well. Your luck might not stretch that far. Don't make the sketch. Miss Susato, do you see this? Okay. Yes, there's great expectations in your eyes, Mr. Naruhodo, but I'm afraid... Okay. Nothing particularly useful comes to mind at all. Gotcha. Sorry, I'm not sure what I was expecting really. This was used to shoot down the balloon, wasn't it? Yes, with a flaming arrow. It's quite a formidable weapon. I'm quite accomplished with a longbow myself, you know. No! Really? If you were to balance an apple on your head, Mr. Naruhodo, I'm quite confident I could hit it from a good 50 meters away. Maybe we could balance an apple on like a pole or stand or like a fence post or something not alive. I'm not saying I doubt her aim. I'm just saying, why risk anything? Quite confident, you say? Does the apple necessarily have to be on my head? Alright, it's nothing. It also might be that we have to look around. So it might not be evidence-based. But, you know, why not go through it? Alright, screwdriver. Last one? Nope, okay. There's definitely a look around type deal. We could always start this argument again. Thinking back, that spade's been here since we first moved in, hasn't it? I'm sure I told you before, Mr. Naruhodo, it's not a spade. It's a shovel. Also, hey Birdie, how's it going? Welcome to Viperland in the chat. We're continuing the ongoing debate of, is it a spade or is it a shovel? It's very important. It's super important to the plot of this game. Hope you've had a good weekend. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. No, spades are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel. The great spade-shovel war rages on. They will never come to an agreement. Never once. It's impossible. You have water gently boiling on the stove, I see. It feels wrong somehow if I can't hear the water bubbling away. And we have plenty of logs. It's not like we have to worry about paying for gas. It's important to open the window for fresh air when the fire's burning, though. Yes. Can't keep it closed just because it's cold outside. It could be a matter of life and death. Avoiding the freezing winter air is a matter of life and death too, if you ask me. Oh well. Perhaps a nice cup of tea will warm you up later. Well, glad to hear, glad to hear. You see, I've been keeping my desk beautifully covered in papers as always. I really must tidy it all up, Mr. Naruhodo. No more excuses. But, Mr. Sato, the way I see it, all these papers building up on my desk like this are a reminder of my wonderfully diverse daily life. I like to leave things as they are, so I never forget how lucky I am to have such varied experiences. In that case, you should definitely have a thorough tidy. Then you'll be able to see your papers building up all over again. You feel the joy of it. Still can't beat her in an argument, even though I'm a lawyer here. I see your Daruma still only has one eye filled in. Well, we agreed that it's something we do together, didn't we? You can do it right now if you like. I'd be happy with that. I rather like the anticipation, I think, Mr. Naruhodo. Clearly, it's all about the anticipation. It was taken when I left London, wasn't it? I have the same photograph and display in my room at home in Japan, you know. Wondered if we'd ever all be together again, to be honest. Oh, I know. So did I. But here we are. I'm quite sure there's a reason we've been brought back together. Can't deny that having Susato-san back again makes me feel as though fate has something big in store for us. Oh, I'm so looking forward to making you some tea again, Mr. Naruhodo. Which you'd think I wouldn't like, given that I'm not keen on bitter flavors, but it is Susato-san's tea. It's amazing what a little cake or something on the side can do. I'd dearly love to serve you some sort of Japanese sweet alongside your matcha green tea. I suppose that's simply not possible given how long we've been staying here in London. Well, I do like the little chocolates you put with my tea. They go wonderfully. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, you would, wouldn't you? It gives me a warm glow inside for some reason. I mean, who doesn't love little chocolates? Ah, probably Iris. Must be about a year ago now. I wrote a really long story based on some of my father's old notes. It's about one of Hurley's greatest exploits. I called it The Hound of the Baskervilles. But then, Mr. Sholmes forbade you from publishing it. They put the manuscript somewhere nobody could get their hands on it. So nobody knows anything about it apart from Hurley and I. But for some reason, you knew the title of it, didn't you, Susie? Oh, it sounds so exciting, The Hound of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it. But you wouldn't tell me how you'd come to know it. Yes, but I made you a promise that I would explain one day, didn't I? Gun of Science, yes. A test of your reflexes. How's it going, Pops? Welcome to Viperland in the chat. How you doing? Think it's time. Oh! I'm only sorry I've had to keep it from you for so long. The Hound of the Baskervilles. It was completely by accident that I came to know the title of your manuscript, Iris. It was a short while before we left Japan. I was cleaning Father's study and I saw something on his writing desk. A large box of papers. There was a label affixed to the box that was written in English. It read, The Hound of the Baskervilles. What? My Baskerville story? Of course, I had no idea what it was at the time. But Father came in and... Susada, what are you doing? Oh, Father. Did you look at these papers? No, I simply read the label, that's all. Well, put it out of your mind. Sorry? Forget that you ever saw it, and certainly don't tell anybody else about this. Do you understand? But what was Iris's manuscript doing in Japan? I have no idea. When I heard Iris mention the word Baskerville that day, the title just slipped out. I would never have guessed that it was an unpublished account of one of Mr. Sholmes' exploits. When I returned to Japan, I asked Father to explain, but he refused to answer any of my questions, and there was no sign of the big box in his office. Also, your father's dead. And Naruhodo was accused as his murderer and had to defend himself in the murder case. Just gonna drop everything on you. That's really all I know about it. No doubt the father has a very good reason for being so secretive about it, but still. I made up my mind to explain myself to both of you. Well, thank you for being so honest, Susie. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I'm ready to start investigating if you are. I've committed every detail about the case to memory. And Iris has told me about the disturbing happenings at the Waxwork Museum as well. So, you're fully abreast of the situation already, Mr. Sato. I'd expected nothing less, to be honest. I think our first port of call should be to investigate this Mr. Drebber, the engineer responsible for building the elaborate machine that was used to effect this extraordinary trick. Yes, a conjurer of sorts, by the sound of it, well known in the fields of science and magic. Then we need to go and arrest him. Well, yes. He must know the truth behind this case, so I agree we really do need to find the man. Sounds like it's a case of tracking someone down. Which is a job for the police. Or a great detective. We're supposed to guess who she might be thinking of. We don't have much time, so we need to get started straight away, I think. Good idea. Well, best of luck then. Oh, you're not coming today? Going to Brixton Road shortly for the herb market. But let me know later how you got on, won't you? Aw, she wants to give him time alone together. Investigating murders. That's a little abrupt. The pull of the herb market must be strong. Some people just can't say no to a bit of herb, you know. New location has been added. Can't go there. So I assume down here won't be anything. Nope, that seems wrong. 23rd October. Nope, never mind. I was correct. I don't even know if they'll let us in here. 23rd October, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Oh, who's that standing beside Lord Strongheart? I wonder, Never seen her before. Ah, the young champion of the court. You had some success this morning, I understand. And you've thrown the entire government into disarray as a result. Oh. You mean because of Professor Harebrain's experiment? Sham science being demonstrated at London's greatest exhibition. The country's been made to look foolish, and now politicians are scrambling to respond. Well, you understand how that's not our fault, right? If you and the entire exposition allowed in sham science, that's your fault, not ours, for just being an okay lawyer and being able to prove things. Also, hey, Sora, how's it going? Welcome to Viperland Chat. I'm not a terrible okay. I would be a terrible lawyer. I'm not a terrible Ace Attorney player. I'm not a terrible Phoenix Wright lawyer. I don't know what you're talking about. He clearly, this is a normal office for a normal human being. Lord Van Zieks is in Whitehall as we speak, giving an emergency briefing. Oh dear, I didn't mean to cause any trouble. Maybe you should have... Again, you understand how this isn't my fault, right? You understand how we just did our job. We did the job that you literally sent us there to do. You understand this, right, Strongheart? You understand that you sent us there specifically to this case. You sent us to this case to be a lawyer on it and defend the defendant, which we are doing, right? I mean, out of nowhere, but also not incorrect. Really mucked up a lot of things, for sure. E-learning day because of snow. Oh! Yep, that sucks. Man, when kids can't even get snow days anymore, that's where we draw the line. None of this is your responsibility. The government is entirely to blame for having been taken... Okay, he does realize. Cool. Good. Appreciated. The special dispensation that prevents investigation at the scene will be annulled later today. Once that happens, my forensics investigation team will move in and deal with that scrap metal in no time. It's scrap metal now, is it? Until later then, Lord Strongheart. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's awful. Legitimately. Who was that? That was Dr. Courtney Scythe, Scotland Yard's esteemed chief coroner. Oh, excuse me. Is this the person we see all these autopsy reports coming from? She's leading the forensic investigation team's handling of this case. She was just delivering her report about the victim, in fact. Oh, I see. About Mr. Assman. Following the outcome of the trial earlier, I asked the coroner's office to reevaluate its findings. Don't have time to tell you what she concluded. If you want to know, you'll have to ask her directly. You don't... She didn't just print another... Okay. Cool, I guess. You can find her in the forensics laboratory. Ah, right. She wouldn't just print it on a piece of paper and make it available to people who were important to this case. Now, what were you here to see me about? I can give you 7 minutes and 39 seconds of my time. So it's not running quite so spectacularly late anymore. Alright, well... Kind of just came here because we're going down the list, but sure, let's chat. What exactly is the forensics investigation team that you mentioned before? Exactly, yes. The British Empire's police force must become the most exemplary in the world. For that to happen, it's imperative that we embrace forensic science and everything it has to offer. I first created the forensic investigation team a year ago now, unofficially, of course, to pave the way. Goodness, a year ago? At next month's symposium, I intend to present the results of their work to the world. Once I do that, the House of Lords will be powerless to oppose the creation of a full-scale forensics division. And once that happens, the position of Attorney General will be mine, and criminals will suffer dearly. What do you mean? For too long, those scoundrels have made a mockery of our legal system with false evidence and bribes. The London scum is about to be rounded up and burnt in the fires of hell. Okay, dude. I intend to see to it personally. Breeding the finest police force the world has ever known to protect our honor and our future. Look at those eyes. He means every word. Dr. Scythe was an important, extremely reliable coroner. When I officially establish the forensics division at Scotland Yard, she will run it as my right-hand woman. Now then, speaking of the symposium, Miss Mikotoba. Oh, yes, my lord. Your father should be on the high seas as we speak, making his way here to represent the Empire of Japan. Yes, that's right. I understand he will arrive at the beginning of next month. Are you acquainted, Lord Strongheart? With Professor Mikotoba, I mean. It was many years ago now, but yes, I remember Dr. Mikotoba very well. Oh, well. He's totally fine. Don't. Again, people with offices like this are fine. People with the need to violently punish the wicked so that they can ascend to a higher power. Always good. Always good. If my memory serves, it was some 15 years ago now that your father came to Britain as a visiting student. Also somebody with a clearly limitless supply of doves at his disposal? All of which have been trained so that when he spreads his arms wide in T-poses, they go flying. Well-trained doves. It was the year I was born, so yes, 16 years ago in fact. Mikotoba was a young practitioner forensic scientist, and Jigoku accompanied him as a young promising judge. The punctualness and politeness of the Japanese at the time impressed us greatly. Not that I wish to imply impoliteness or carelessness on your part in any way. I didn't think that you were. Dr. Mikotoba studied forensics in one of London's large hospitals. 16 years ago, you say? 16 years ago was also when Lord Van Zieks was in some way betrayed, burned, or hurt by a Japanese man, which has given him a burning racist hatred of Japanese people since then. I wonder if these are related in any way. Study forensics is one of London's large hospitals. St. Sinners. If I'm not mistaken, that sounds like it. Dr. Scythe was also there then, as it happens. And Dr. Scythe knows my father, does she? She was a young medical assistant at the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly. Yeah, I wonder. But I've no doubt they knew each other superficially. After all, Dr. Mikotoba was here studying his subject for some 6 years in total. What? 6 years? That's a long time to be studying abroad, isn't it? Also, was his wife with him here? It's otherwise I have questions. If he was here for 6 years, he either missed the first 6 years of Susato's life, or his wife is here with him, or something else. I lived with my grandmother in those years. Wait. Where was he? So her mom was here with him for 6 years. They had a child, shipped that child on a boat back to Japan, and for the first 6 years of her life she didn't know her parents and lived with a grandmother. So he left his newly born daughter behind. Oh, okay. Sorry. Had the timing wrong. He was in Japan, conceived a child was born, he went to England for 6 years. That's... perhaps swap those two. I assume he was around for the birth of the child. Could be mistaken. He could have left before then, but still. Okay. Timeline, more in place. Understood. Still nuts, but you know. It was a rather turbulent time at home. Oh. Perhaps father wanted a reason to get away. What do you mean? Why? Well, clearly something was going on at the time. I wanted to ask you about Lord Van Zieks, actually. I heard that his older brother was killed some years ago by a mass murderer known as the Professor, who targeted nobles and royalty, is that right? You Japanese are a thorough lot. You've done your research well. Yes. And you could say it was that very incident that gave rise to the Reaper. What? Why? When his brother, Clint Van Zieks, was murdered, it was just after young Barrack had graduated from the University of London and became a prosecutor. When obvious criminals who managed to evade conviction in court started disappearing, rumors quickly spread throughout the capital. Londoners started to say that whenever Baron Von Zieks went, the ghost of his dead brother wasn't far behind. Oh my word! So, Lord Van Zieks isn't the Reaper, it's the ghost of his brother? Ever since that time, he became a very aloof figure in London's legal circles. Oh yes, Lord Strongheart. Go ahead. It's about Professor Harebrain's experimental machine. We'd like your permission to examine the remains, if possible. Are you well versed in science, then? Not in the slightest. In fact, you could say I was barely aware of the subject at all until recently. Well, the special dispensation legally preventing investigation of the machine is currently being annulled. Within a few hours, Dr. C's team of forensic experts will begin their own investigation. I suppose until then, there's no harm in you looking at the wreckage, as long as you touch nothing. Science, yes. Thank you. Being able to look at it is better than nothing. And I'll be able to see it too. Your time is up. You'll have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls. We're extremely sorry to have troubled you when you are so busy, my lord. I have important matters to attend to in preparation for the symposium, you understand? Alright, bye. He just leaves. Alright, yeah, tally-ho. The location's been entered. Oh. Oh. 23rd October, local prison, cell 11. What's he doing? He's... oh my, the whole wall of the cell is covered in mathematical equations. And he's still writing more now. Professor? Sorry to interrupt. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. And who is this young lady? My name is Susanoo Mikotoba. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor. Oh, if only I'd met a refined young woman like you sooner! None of this would have happened. What? No, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all. Yeah, correct. Oh dear, I'm sorry if my presence here upsets you. I owe you an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I would in court this morning. Oh no. The whole thing, the whole miserable affair. It all happened because I've been such a complete and utter clot. Professor Harebrain? What have you been working on in your cell? Oh, you mean that? Oh dear, how embarrassing. I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see. I simply had to write it down. The wall was all I had on hand. Oh, is it some new hypothesis? Something to surpass super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, maybe? No, actually, this is my autobiography. Your autobiography? How I was diddled and fiddled by Albert Harebrain. Do not title your autobiography that, sir. Do not. No. Pick a different name. How I was swindled, how I was duped, how I was led down the path of scam science, how a crooked engineer took all my money and framed me for murder, but not how I was diddled and fiddled. You can't. You can't. I found I can represent my odd fortunes with only odd numbers and an ambiguous set of simultaneous equations. Really? Going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you say? So it's going to be a new special publication from next month. Part 1, an odd birth and odd upbringing. Can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we talk a little more about the case? Oh, yes, of course. Been working through the numbers. I was diddled by the pair of them. You can't shout that. There's other words that could be used here that would fit what happened. Whatever. He's only a man of science. He doesn't have a big vocabulary. Obviously. I forgot. Yeah, he's been diddled by Ass Man. Cool. But Ass Man and that aloof engineer, Drebber. We're not going to have to sit through an explanation of all these equations, are we? That's what you're worried about? Having to deal with an explanation of those? Not how loud he's going to keep shouting he was diddled and fiddled? Alright. This morning's trial. Everything I believed in has been turned on its head. My research, Mr. Assman, the kinesis machine, my hypothesis even. Sorry it's come to this. There was really no other way. No, it's not your fault. I wanted to protect my work, but in the end, there was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public. No, of course you didn't. But in court this morning, I realized something. Oh? If you've done something wrong without knowing it, you've still done something wrong! Logically, it makes no difference if you were aware of it or not. Ignorance is a poor excuse. The blame still lies with me. Oh, Professor. He believed in me this morning, you know. Barrick did. He believed in my hypothesis. Well, I think that was just a necessary factor in the prosecution establishing its case. No, Barrick wouldn't do something like that. Yes, he would. I'm sure he genuinely believed it. Alright, whatever helps you sleep at night. Did he? Excuse me. I think I understand now. Why it was that he decided to take on the prosecution of my trial, I mean. After the terrible accident happened, nobody would believe my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution services, not any lawyers even. I felt like I dealt some kind of finishing blow there. So, if any other prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Barrick, I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypothesis a complete and utter nonsense. Yeah, and in that case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor. Exactly, which would have been a fate worse than death for me. Barrick insisted that I was a proper man of science from start to finish. You think that's why he... I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul. He's also single-handedly sustaining the ornate goblet industry in Victorian London. Single-handedly. And, you know, putting a damn good contribution towards keeping the wine flowing too, without actually drinking any of it. But that extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he? Well, admittedly, that part of the analysis appears to have some flaws in it. Yeah, a little bit. And what about the whole Reaper side of things? How does that fit in with the kind-hearted soul idea? Mr. Assman. The ass of the operations. Do you think he set out to trick me from the very start? Sorry to say, it does seem likely, yes. When I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked over the papers I'd written. Next paragraph. It's going to every single goblin beverage. Yeah, which is so many of them. He looked over the paper I'd written and said my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused. He was so emphatic. When in reality, he was the mastermind of some vast criminal network, it seems. I still can't believe it. As the machine was essentially a set doctrine, a decoration of some stage magic. It probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually. The scale of it wasn't just some small trick. It was a very elaborate feat of deception. All young scientists are full of hope about their burgeoning ideas, full of zeal. But none of us have any money. Ain't that science? I mean, yeah, some young scientists do. Mostly, people who research things for big corporations that pay them greatly to come out with predetermined outcomes. Totally normal science and health and medicine stuff. None of us have any money. We want to do research, but we can't afford it. Many of us take on barely legal part-time work to try and earn just a few measly pennies to carry on. You should see the host clubs and brothels of Germany. Just scientists as far as the eyes can see. To go through all that, only to be taken for a complete fool. It's too rotten to believe. It is, I agree. And that's why we have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Mr. Assman is no more, of course, which leaves only the engineer. Mr. Enoch Drebber. Still don't get. There's got to be like a pun or something there. I don't got it yet. Drebber the engineer. Is he an engineer or a magician or a swindler? Yes! It was about a year ago when Mr. Assman first brought Drebber to meet with me at my laboratory. Since then I've met him many times to discuss details about the kinesis machine. But at no point did you have any inkling that he was just an illusionist. Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist. What do you mean? He was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question that the man's a genuine scientist. It's instantly apparent in conversation. I see. But the wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. We must do everything we can to find him and bring him to justice. Are there no more clues you can give us as to his whereabouts? Sorry, we only ever discussed the kinesis machine, nothing else. Although, just once. I did visit his workshop. So you know where he works. But you didn't think to bring this up earlier when we were like, how can we find him? What workshop? Drebber's enormous fabrication laboratory where he constructed my great machine. Yeah, that'll do. Where is it? Why didn't you mention this before? You're not Drebber's workshop. There's every chance we might find the man there. So, you've been to Drebber's place of work then? Yes, just once, you understand. It's an enormous place, plenty of room to construct the kinesis machine. Where can we find it? We have to go there at once. There's a good chance that we'll find Drebber there. Oh, yes, definitely. I'm sure. As in, I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. But I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. I'm so sorry! I was more than half expecting that. You see, I was blindfolded in the carriage the entire way there. He blindfolded you? He wasn't taking any chances then. The place was incredible, the pinnacle of modern engineering. Even the oil used was the very best. A special French machine oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Wow, the indescribable scent of that imported oil. Perfumers across the world should forget their secret formula and use that instead. Okay, man. What do you think, Mrs. Hadu? Air de machine for your next birthday? I've never used any kind of perfume, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm not sure I'd like to start with that. I don't suppose you know even part of the workshop's address, Professor. You don't have a business card for Mr. Drebber, for example. The man was clearly very cautious, Mr. Hadu. Ah! Can we get a new defendant? No. We're already halfway through the case. It's kind of hard to swap now. Yes, I do. He gave me his business card once. It's right here. Oh, my. Yeah, he might be broken. He gave me his business card once. It's right here. Look. What? Let me see that. Throw etiquette to the wind, why don't you? Enoch Drebber, engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address. No. Oh well. Can't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be useful. Drebber's card has been entered into the court record. I kinda figured these would mean something. Oh. This dark smudge here. I think perhaps it's machine oil. Ah yes, possibly. Professor Harebrayne mentioned something about the oil Mr. Drebber uses, didn't he? He said it was specially imported, very high-quality oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Yes, that's right, but more importantly, that it's more fragrant than the finest perfume, so excuse me a moment. Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all. Don't worry, I expect that's just because there's such a tiny amount on here. There's a smear of machine oil on the reverse. Alright, well, cool, I guess. Alright, well, you were of no help whatsoever. Goodbye. "23rd October, Madame Tuspel's." Oh my, no wonder it's called the House of Horrors. I like to turn on my heels and go straight home via the confectionery. Oh, didn't mean to hit that. I like that. It's a great way of being, I don't want to be here anymore, but I deserve a snack on the way out. Being scared makes you crave sweets? I can understand that. I was looking forward to a reunion after 6 months away, but there's no sign of Mr. Sholmes anywhere. That's strange. He should be here investigating the abduction of the waxwork. Oh well, suppose we'll just have to come back again later. Alright, well, bye. "23rd October, the Great Exhibition Grounds, foot of the Crystal Tower." Oh, somebody found a pup. I had no idea there were so many people in the world. I know what you mean. It's really packed here today. It feels as though it's taken us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowds to this point. Yeah, that's a convention. Has it? I shut my brain down, so I didn't really notice, to be honest. Gosh, I do wish I had your absence of mind sometimes, Mr. Naruhodo. There you are. I had a feeling you lot would show your mugs before long. Oh, hello. Oh, Inspector Gregson. I see you're hard at work as usual. Warm greetings to you. I do hope you've been keeping well since last we met. It's all the ceremony. We just saw each other in court this morning. Not you, Sunshine. The gentlewoman so loyally at your side. Oh. Why, thank you, Inspector. How good of you to notice. Might be a bit rough around the edges, but he's still a proper English gentleman at heart, I suppose. As you probably guessed, we were hoping to investigate the scene some more. Right, well, that's the young trainee's domain. Oi, get over here, Gina. But she's got a puppy. She's clearly busy. Obviously. She seems to be busy playing with a puppy. Probably giving their traditional East End training. Gina, she's a police officer now. Amazing, isn't it? She's a good kid, actually. Heart's in the right place, anyway. She's got the detection bug, if you ask me. Yep, think she'll follow in my footsteps nicely. What do you mean? I'm being transferred. It's time for me to say toodaloo to London. Oh no, really? That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. Where are you going to be posted then? We'll come see you. We'll come to see how you're getting along. Not likely, but you're welcome to try. If you don't mind a trip to France, that is. To France? I'm working in the Paris Police Prefecture. Should be right up my alley. But France? It's an entirely different country. I don't understand. Why would you be sent there? That's the way the adult world works, Sunshine. Now don't go poking your nose in where it's not wanted. I'm intending to take the kid with me when I go. What? You're taking Gina to Paris? Well, can't leave her here in London. Who knows what'll become of her? I suppose he's worried she'd slip back into slipping her hands into people's pockets and purses. I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing, Mr. Naruhodo. I think he's worried about the Reaper. Oh, of course. Excuse me. So that's playing on Inspector Gregson's mind too, is it? Anyway, I haven't mentioned any of this to Gina. So don't go blabbing, you hear me? No, of course not. Gotta keep that Divine and Diva safe and sound till all this is over at least. Oi, did you just call me a bloomin' diving diva again? So you heard that, did you? Right, well, any questions about the scene, you can put them to my capable detective diva here. Alright, you're the boss. Inspector Lestrade's in charge here now. I suppose I'd better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. So, Gina, got a new dog, have you? It's a pup. Isn't he great? Dobie's his name. Oh, how delightful. He's absolutely adorable. Yes, the dog does seem lovely. But it's the not-so-lovely Inspector Gregson that's playing on my mind, to be honest. Well, indeed, pupper spotted. Gina? We're actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again. Yeah, alright. So around here you can do what you like. Oh, that's alright, is it? I'm gonna be playing with my new friend here. Ah yes, Toby. The machine that exploded must be at the top of those stairs, I presume. I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind... Sorry, can't go up there, Suze. Oh. It's like I told Odo yesterday, even I ain't allowed near that wreck. What's it called again? The reason we ain't supposed to touch it? The Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. Is that what you were thinking of? That's the one! That's why only them lot are allowed to investigate it. What are they called again? The Forensic something? The Forensic Investigation Team. Is that what you were thinking of? That's the one, yeah! But isn't it the case that the special dispensation has been lifted? I think so. I don't really get it, to be truthful with you. It's still supposed to get permission from some bigwig or other as far as I know. What was his name again? Lord Strange something? I'm not sure that's quite right, Gina. I think you mean Lord Strongheart? Oh, which explains why we were definitely supposed to come here first and then go there. I just kind of went down the list. But like, if we were following the story threads, we were supposed to come here first. This would send us there, but we went there first. So Sherlock Holmes has follow trails and some big issue tales. Oh, really? Aww. Perfect then. We have located a good pup. Well, she has. That's the one, yeah. Apparently he's always watching the time or something. Yeah, he sure is. Actually, we've just recently been to see Lord Strongheart. You what? You met him? Last time the boss was called to go see him. He waited for 3 hours at the Cove's office and came back sniveling. Yeah, that sounds right too. Tragic. Well, Lord Strongheart has given us permission to examine the scene as long as we touch nothing. No, yeah? Honestly? Alright then, go ahead. But if it turns out you're lying, it'll be the boss who gets it. He'll never eat another chip again in his life. You're still saying all this is above board, are you? I'm sure everything will be fine. That really would be tragic. Alright then, them's the stairs. Off you go. Oh, thank you, Gina. Today's trial. It's great, weren't it? I had a right laugh. It was a new one on me, that. You know, being in court and not spending the whole time worrying I'm about to be found out. You did keep an awful lot of secrets in all your previous court appearances, didn't you? Yeah, and Otto's magic made Otto's made things hard for me every single time and all. Jeez. Whew. Man, it's written accurately, but it's a lot. Just doing my job, Gina. Watching someone else get it in the neck is a lot of fun, actually. It's amazing when you showed that dodgy professor's dodgy experiment was a total fix. The dodgy professor, as you put it, Gina, is Mr. Naruhodo's client. Yes, I'm starting to wish he wasn't, though. Yeah, see, Pots, even he's like, can I get a new client? It's the boss I feel sorry for. Sent off to do the impossible. What do you mean? He's supposed to arrest the other cove, ain't he? And in time for tomorrow and all. You know, the dodgy engineer, what's his name again? Mr. Drebber, you mean? Enoch Drebber. Yeah, that's the one! So the police are looking for this mysterious man with the black monocle. Guess they would be. Putting too much on the boss, if you ask me. Says it's giving him gut ache. It's definitely not the fact that he eats exclusively fried foods. Gotta take it back to the store. Yeah, you know, exchange. Oh dear, but I do wonder if that isn't actually from all the... See, Susato? Great minds. Great minds. I do wonder if that isn't actually from all the fried food. She understands. So Scotland Yard are trying to track down Mr. Enoch Drebber. I wonder if they've had any luck. He's really funny looking. Got two eyes but don't match. Stole a glimpse of a picture of him earlier. Oh, it's got heterochromia? Alright. I mean, I didn't actually pinch it or nothing. The old devil's got it. Sorry, who? You know, that Scowlin' Reaper, what's always glugging down glasses of that bloody red block. I don't think he actually drinks. I think he just likes destruction and blood red colors. Ah, Lord Benziques. He's always added in for me, that Gove. Don't know what he's always scowling about, man. Well, it would have been a pretty good boss as it goes. She'd rather be the Reaper's apprentice than the detective's trainee. The way I see it, if the choice is between a chip-guzzling detective and a chalice-glugging demigod, you're equally bad off with both. I suppose you're right. I hadn't thought of it like that. Glad we put that one to bed. Anyway, the point is, everyone at the yard's dead set on finding the fishy engineer. There don't seem to be no clues to go on, so they're stuck. There's nothing that could lead us to Drebber at all. Where did you find that little mutt there, Gina? Oi, don't be so flaming rude, Otto. Slight overreaction, don't you think? He ain't no mutt, alright? Toby's, how do they put it? Oh yeah, a bona fide detective, or bona fide detective. Sorry? You know, proper title and everything. It's Chief Inspector Toby to you. More senior than Inspector Gregson, is he? Oh, so he's a police dog, is he? Police recruit dogs now? Heard that they're already being used officially in Germany as part of their city policing. They're used for chasing criminals and such like. They have a wonderful sense of smell, after all. A fairly good sense of smell myself as it happens. I can tell undergarments that have been freshly laundered from undergarments that haven't. Thanks, Ryunosuke. Really the highest of skill levels right here. Cool. Huh, that's nothing compared to this little fellow, Odo. Oh, really? According to what the boss said, Once Toby here's got a good whiff of your drawers, he could chase that scent to the other side of the world. What? To the other side of the world? You mean he can swim? Mr. Naruhodo, I think you may have missed the point by rather a wide margin. I just can't believe this little dog has such an incredible skill. I'm telling you, Odo, there's got to be more and more dogs doing their bit for the police in future. Yes, I agree. Right? One of these days, they'll be barking orders at us lot, not the other way around. Oh dear. Sorry, Gina. I don't think I agree with your vision quite that much. Well, anyway, whatever you think about that, Toby here is Britain's first police dog. Found him down the East End the other day. Someone had just chucked him out on the street. There you go. I knew she'd lifted him from somewhere. Oh, Gina, you're such a kind-hearted soul, aren't you? To children and to animals. Alright, well, I guess we go up the stairs. Let's be up. The stairs lead up to the experimentation stage. Let's go and see what we can find. October 23rd, the Great Exhibition Grounds, experimentation stage. Oh my, so this is the machine that was used to deceive people into thinking instantaneous kinesis had taken place. Yes, that's right. Or rather, it was the machine. It's a little worse for wear at the moment. What extraordinary lengths Professor Harebrained went to in order to obtain the research grant. No. The professor was strict as well. He didn't know anything about it. Yes, of course. It's amazing, though, isn't it? The scale of the whole affair is so very British. You're right about that. You'd never see such a grand deception in Japan, that's for sure. Oh, look. Is that Lord Van Zieks? So, I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? Shall we, Mrs. Otto? Already? He is the Reaper, remember? We do well to keep our distance, I think. We have permission to be here from the top. We're perfectly well allowed to investigate this machine, as long as we don't touch anything. From the top? Do you mean Lord Strongheart? Exactly. So we can stay here and stare at this wreckage for as long as we like. She could have been at the center of the explosion here and it wouldn't have bent her steel will. Let's, hello, friend. Least approachable man in the world, winner. 10 years in a row. Be strong, Mr. Naruhodo. Your country and your assistant stand firm behind you. Lord Van Zieks. What? Well, beautiful weather we're having, isn't it? I thought I was making it quite clear that I didn't want to be disturbed. Apparently, you Nipponese are unequipped to read the signs. Oh, I read them. So, what are you doing here? Entry to this area is prohibited. What are you doing here? We got permission. How about you? Well, the thing is, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart granted us permission to investigate on the condition that we didn't disturb anything. And yet you've managed to disturb me. Never mind. State your business, then. Come to think of it, there are quite a few things I'd like to ask Lord Van Zieks about. Not least of which is that awful case, even though it's nothing to do with this. Ask away, Mr. Naruhodo. You won't know unless you try. Well, hey, how about your dead brother? Pretty sure that's exactly what he wants to hear right now. Just rip off the band-aid, you know. So, What's the name of your older brother, I understand, Lord Van Zeeks? You Nipponese. I always have to be on guard whenever you're around. Oh, you've been investigating me, have you? Oh, no, it's not like that. Well, alright, it is a bit like that. My older brother was also a prosecutor. He was the pride of the Van Zeeks family. But tragically, a vicious killer took him from us. A professor, you mean? It's something funny. And that's the extent of what you just discovered, is it? I shouldn't be surprised. Sorry? There's more to it then. Lackluster work is very much your trademark, is it? We have beaten you in every single case we've gone up against you in. How can you still be like, you're so bad at your job, why can't you do anything right? I'm so much better than you. You're inferior. We've beaten you repeatedly, sir. Admittedly, once we were defending a guilty man who was bribing people, but we didn't know that, and that's not our fault. It's not like you. I mean, he probably knew, but whatever. Ugh, you're too kind. Are you going to tar all Nipponese with the same brush next? Yes, he is. So tell me, what's your interest in that historic incident? As it happens, Lord Van Zeeks, there's a rather curious case that's come to our attention. Are you aware of the Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxwork, by any chance? I am, naturally. I believe that since last month I featured one of the displays there. Public scorn. Of course the infamous Reaper of the Bailey would have to be exhibited, wouldn't he? Well, a particular waxwork has been stolen from the place and held for ransom. A particular waxwork? Which... Wait, you mean... Yes, it's the professor. Mr. Sholmes is investigating the case as we speak. I was unaware of that. It's turned as white as a sheet. Well... Are the police trying to locate the engineer, Mr. Drebber, already? Surely that goes without saying. We're very keen to see him found as well. The trouble is, we don't have much to go on aside from the description of the man we've heard in court earlier. Which, according to Professor Harebrained, was of a tall, thin gentleman who has straight white hair and wears a black monocle. So, I was just wondering. I mean, I realize it's probably not possible, but... we'd very much appreciate any more clues you can give us. Wow, Susanoo-san really knows how to take the bull by the horns. Fine. Why not? I have a photograph of the man here from an investigation 10 years ago. Though it appears he already had that black monocle at the time. What? Oh, no, nothing. I was just surprised that you shared that with us. We all need the man's testimony in court tomorrow, which means we have to do everything we possibly can to track him down in the short time available. So why wouldn't I show you the photograph? What is it about Lord Van Zeeks? Sometimes it just can't work him out at all. The photograph of Drebber has been entered into the court record. Hello, Mr. Not at all suspicious whatsoever. How are you doing today, Mr. Organization member in old-timey London, while also wearing a mask because being an organization member wasn't enough? How are you? Why? Somebody's gonna get stabbed, ain't they? file I requested for the trial tomorrow. Where are you getting your files from, sir? Thank you. No, that's the correct reaction, Susato. Are you alright? Who is this man, Mr. Naruhodo? Lord Van Zeke's apprentice, apparently. So I'm not the only one. Susato-san can see it too. Also, hey Ark, how's it going? Welcome to Viperland in the chat. Lord Van Zeeks, may we speak with your apprentice for a moment? With him? Why? Totally forgot that was his apprentice, and seeing him all decked out, just, it's so much. Clearly a daywalker. Kazuma-sama! Kazuma? I don't believe it. Your posture, your presence. It can only be. It's you, isn't it, Kazuma-sama? I felt something strange from the very first time I encountered this cloaked figure. As if I knew him somehow. It's not a play on names, quite famous for the books. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm just so used to Phoenix Wright having, you know, pun names. Not that I always get them, but I'm always looking for them. First victim in first book? Oh, damn, alright. Learning a lot of stuff about Sherlock Holmes tonight. Can it really be you, Kazuma? Wait! Well, that's not helpful. Too late. What's going on here? Your apprentice. What is your interest in my apprentice, exactly? You act as if you know the man or something. Well, since when has he been in your care? I don't recall you having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago.
Objection!
Lord Strongheart introduced him to me about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor. But he didn't tell you why, did he? He doesn't seem to give a lot of whys. The man appears to be suffering from amnesia. He's forgotten every last detail about himself. He has amnesia? Tomorrow he will appear in court at my side. What? He's to serve as my judicial assistant on Lord Strongheart's orders. He'll be in court with us. Now then, unless I am much mistaken, I believe this conversation has run its course. Oh, yes, thank you. One last question. If you are so vehemently racist against Japanese people, why do you have a Japanese apprentice? Always that new page coming. Oh yeah. Auction house. Again, I'm still of the mind that they shouldn't do an auction house, but I'm also of the mind that it's inevitable. I get that they don't want to. I think they should stick to their guns, but I think eventually they'll do it. I'm a little... I don't know if it's the right call. Match trade sucks also. Yeah. Yeah, I know you do, Sora, and a lot of people do, which is why they'll eventually probably add it. I get it. But I also get the reasoning as to not wanting it, and I think that the currency exchange was a good middle ground. But the success of the currency exchange will only further prove to people that, I mean, I get it. Like, I get it. It would be useful. I'm not disputing its usefulness. But I see where they're coming from, and that they want people to still actually have to interact with others occasionally, at least on a trade server. Even if people are always going to try to find a way to minimize and use a bot for that interaction, the idea behind it is not a bad one. But eventually they'll crack. It's just a matter of time. That's just how it is. I'm still a little... I don't know how I agree with the one death maps, but it seems they are also very adamant about that. And hey, if they're adamant about it, but they find a way to like balance it a little better, we're still in early access, so like things can be balanced totally differently. I'm still okay with that. Everything else on the list, totally great. Awesome. I love that they're fixing the things they can quickly and taking the time for the things that they can't fix quickly, and they're working on it. It's also still early access. Like, I see so many tweets of people treating it like, why isn't this perfect already? Why isn't everything perfectly balanced and perfectly functioning and perfectly implemented? And it's like, I died on a hardcore because of a bug. And it's like, yeah, it's early access. And you're playing hardcore. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do, but I'm saying you knew what you signed up for. It's like people who play hardcore day one of a new league. It's like, yeah, you can do it. Awesome. Well, you also know there's a non-zero chance that things are going to be weirdly tuned and servers are going to have issues. This is fine. You have to accept that. It's early access. Yeah, no, I am very much loving, like, even if they're making changes I don't agree with, which doesn't seem to be the case, but like even if they were, I love that they're being open and transparent about the whole thing. These are the changes we're working on. We're telling you all ahead of time. Here's some of the things we're working on further out. These are our general plans. We're definitely sticking to this. This is something that might change. We have good ideas, and now we're getting better data. Yeah. I mean, you always can just pay someone to boost you, true. I'm seeing more and more of the, like, people who clearly just wanted Path of Exile 1 again. And it's like, man, just play Path of Exile 1. There's nothing wrong with that. Path of Exile 1 is still great. Arguably still has more content, more features, more leagues, more cool stuff, and it's still going to have more content. That's awesome. If you want Path of Exile 1, it ain't going nowhere. Play it. I'll still dabble in Path of Exile 1. Every now and again, I want to just go crush stuff in a map too. PoE 2 is designed to be something different. Not wholly, like, we're still talking the same framework here, but like, they clearly had slightly different ideas for it. And it's not even different ideas, it's the ideas they had for Path of Exile 1 to begin with that are just refined more. Path of Exile 1 kind of just went in that power creep speed direction. Again, nothing wrong with that, but the developers always stated that they wanted things a little slower, a little more impactful, a little more dangerous. That was always what they said every time it came up. And now they have a game where they can do that from the start. Yeah, sure, maybe given another 10 years down the road, PoE 2 might have enough power creep and feature creep and whatnot that it turns into Speedfest 2. But for right now, people shouldn't be trying to change it to that. It irks me. Yes, they did say they want, that's not in the upcoming this week patch, but it is something they are aware of and are working on. So awesome. They know that people want that, and they want to give it, they can't do that in the patch this week. Fair, reasonable. And it is, while I'm impatient and I want more of my already paid for microtransactions added to be able to use in this game, I'm kind of glad they're not leaning into that. They're like, no, we're going to try to fix things, then we can put some dev time into like making those work, which is the right call. Objectively the right call. But a lot of other companies wouldn't make that call. A lot of other companies would be like, we got to make sure people can spend as much as they can on this right now. But they're like, no, we're going to make it better. It helps that they have that little baseline of things you can get there. Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. It's just all good changes all around. And Eversync dropped his full loot filter. Awesome. Like, I don't know. I understand the urge and the desire for people, especially people who play these types of games, specifically, to optimize. That's half the fun of the game. It's like, okay, I've got this idea for a build. How can I make it better? What items can I get to make it better? How can I do that better? But like, people want to do it too quick. Like, it took PoE 1 so long to be fully like meta gamed out, and even then, people would still come up with wonky build ideas that caught everyone off guard, and it was awesome. Atlantis back stuff so pricey? I have no idea. That I don't know. Unfortunately, all of the Path of Exile microtransactions have always been expensive. That's why I tend to lean into the support packs that give you points but also guarantee you stuff. That's what I always lean into. So then I tend to use those points on stupid things like the loot boxes, but it's not Pots. Hell, Pots, you could just come in here and say the word cheese and we could have to click the same damn timer, okay? You can't blame Ark for this. Well, I mean, this specific one, sure, but like as an in general, all of them, nah. Like, anybody could just hop in here and be like, man, food's delicious, ain't it? And we'd be on like a 30-minute long tangent. It's just how it is. It's the way things go. Get the receipts. Yeah, no, that's nuts. Keep an eye out for them going on sale. They only have so many things in the store now, they're bound to go on sale. That's the best I got for you. But yeah, no, some of the things. That's also why I get some of the boxes. Because I know they'll be more expensive after. But yeah. I'm excited. I still haven't gotten far into the end game at all. So, be excited to see how things go. All the working glams game. Oh, nifty. Okay, that's pretty useful. Definitely saw a reaction there. When Susanoo-san called out like that, it really seemed to hit a nerve. When she called out Kazuma-sama. Well, the mystery deepens here. Excuse me. Alright, so we were actually here to look at this thing. Oh, isn't it exhilarating? All the different architecture from all corners of the world. It does make you feel a bit like an explorer, doesn't it? I know it's all subjective, but the onion-shaped roofs have rather caught my attention personally. They are always just cool looking. It is very subjective, isn't it? Is that her way of saying, nah, they ugly. Japanese buildings with their wood and paper construction have excellent ventilation, and I've realized that British buildings, being made from brick and stone, are very strong and long-lasting. The more you know about how things are done in other countries, the more you understand your own, I feel. Oh yes, I do agree with you there. I can't help wondering what an onion does for the roof of a building. It's stylish as hell. I mean, I suppose it's playing on my mind because I don't like the taste of onions. You really oughtn't let your taste in vegetables dictate your taste in roofs, Mr. Naruhodo. I mean, she's not wrong, but also, what? What a terrible explosion it must have been. Even the steel girders have buckled and twisted in the blast. And what they call the bird cage was right in the middle of it all, just here. But look, Mr. Naruhodo, that metal grill on the floor. Looks as though it's designed to open. It does, doesn't it? If the floor had opened at the precise moment the explosion occurred, the birdcage could have dropped through and disappeared from sight. I don't think there's any doubt that this was a very elaborate hoax, is there? Let's get that. This wasn't here yesterday. Really? But if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage in which the victim was standing before he was apparently beamed through the air. That's right, the birdcage. According to what Professor Harebrain said in court, it's made of wood. Or more precisely, Japanese cypress, I think. And despite having been in an explosion and then falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. What wonderful, durable construction, wouldn't you say, Mr. Naruhodo? I'd understood that the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back here when they'd finished their work. but sadly not with the body inside it. Is it really sad? No, that's right. I know we were given strict instructions not to touch anything, but still. This is too important a piece of evidence to overlook. We might need it for the trial. The birdcage from the machine has been entered into the court record. I know we were told explicitly by our boss to touch nothing. We're not going to touch this thing. NVIDIA has not had a new driver for a long time. Said why? No, I missed that, I guess. I only saw the shorter 7-minute video of the here's what's coming up. I didn't see the longer. I don't know if there was more to it. You've already met that masked man, hadn't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, yesterday, in fact, at Lord Van Ziek's office. Hour or so. Yeah, not great. I see. And if Kazuma-sama really is still alive, means that Mr. Sholmes lied to us. I know. I'm going to need to speak to him about that. You're going to have to leave now. The Forensics Investigations team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, it will cause problems. What sort of problems? Foreign affairs problems. Well, we could do without that. Alright, we'll be on our way. Let's go, Mrs. Hada. Of course. Takes it off of NVIDIA to Vulcan thing that helped. Alright, nifty. I think I've had it on Vulcan for a while. NVIDIA used to always be a little worse, and Vulcan just worked better. Like, it historically has since I added it. Nothing new here. Oh. Gina. We were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again. Yeah, alright. It's around here, you can do what you like. Oh, it's alright, is it? We already did this, didn't we? We'll be playing with a new friend here. Ah yes, Toby. We literally saw this. Apparently we can't look around on the stage. Okay, that's the different line of dialogue. Got it. Because the forensics investigation team are at work. Can't you do anything, Gina? In your capacity as Inspector Lestrade? Look, I'd like to help you out. I'm just a trainee, ain't I? Ain't nothing I can do. Suits you, yes. Alright, cool. We're good here. Oh, did they change this order around? We went there, went to the prison. Nothing there. We went here. We went to Madame Two Spells, but we might have to go again now? Nope. Probably have to come back later. To forensics. I haven't had a single issue with Path of Exile. I've had issues with Marvel Rivals, and I don't know why. Every, let's say, 3 or so games, I get that, heavy spike of, frame drops or latency or what. I'm not sure what it is. Every now and again, it crashes the game. It gets so bad. It didn't happen on stream, thankfully, but it's happened off camera. And it's like, my computer can handle that game. I know my computer can handle that game. Absolutely understand it. If it's latency, weird, but fine, whatever. I understand that servers are getting hammered for that game. If that's the case, cool. But if it's not, then I'm definitely worried about, what's going on. Don't know why, don't know why either. If it's the servers, I'd understand it, and, blame the 2B mod. Ah, man. Once again, people flew too close to the sun. Mods got too big, too popular, too viral, and Marvel Rivals we gotta shut that down. Which I get. I get that, they can't legally have people being we have somebody else's property, intellectual property in your game. Tee. If people could just keep it on the hush-hush, there's no problem. But people can't. They just can't. They just can't. 23rd October, Forensics Laboratory. I believe this is it. Dr. Seith's laboratory. That chemical smell really assaults the nose, and there's plenty of it to assault the eyes in here, too. Looks as though the doctor isn't here. But we're here now, so we may as well do some sightseeing, don't you think? What a seasoned tourist you become, Mrs. Sato. Chat censoring? I haven't noticed that. Are they censoring chat? We could just have a little look around. Be careful not to upset any restless souls. I'm sure she won't return as soon as we, find something interesting. Really, bloody table with some bandages on it. Not something we can investigate? Surprising. Can't type 1989 in chat. Oh. Man, yeah. That's a really... Really... On the bright side, doesn't impact anything I would ever type in chat. Not that I'm really ever going to be typing in chat anyway, but really? Yeah, sure. The Chinese market is a huge market, and you can't kind of intentionally, piss them off if you want to make a shitload of money. Table instead of sharp tools. When you consider each in isolation, it all looks quite innocent. So why is it that when you put them side by side, they seem so horribly disturbing? Maybe best not to ponder it too deeply. Seeing the large tome that's open on the desk does make me wonder, though. How can anybody concentrate on bookwork with this acrid odor of chemicals in the air? You either have to have a cast iron constitution or a really terrible sense of smell. Jars full of organs. Wonderful. Those jars seem to have pale things floating around inside them. Suppose they're fruit liquors or something. Or like the pickled umeboshi plums we make back home. No. One of those is clearly a spinal column. Ah, father had jars like that in his laboratory as well. I expect they're human organs in a preserving solution, probably as examples by some rare medical condition. Mr. Sato, there are some things in the world that's just perfectly fine to never know about. Ever. Oh. So as I said, I'm sure they're fruit liquors or umeboshi, aren't they? Of course. Ah, poor guy. Yeah, Tencent has their hands in everything, unfortunately. Look at all the bottles on the shelves in these cabinets. What an assortment of chemicals. These ones here are labeled highly toxic. That's worrying, because there are also things that look like salt and pepper shakers in there. Oh yes, and they actually say salt and pepper on them. Doctor probably spends a lot of time in this room, I suppose. Perhaps she has meals here sometimes. Life goes on, even when you're surrounded by death. I suppose this is Dr. C's desk. I would not like to work in a place like this. It's very tidy, though, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Imagine how efficiently she must work. The lighting is poor, which is bad for the eyes, and the chemical smell can't be good for you. Not to mention the skeleton watching over you to work, which is definitely bad for the nerves. Well, yes, those are valid concerns, I suppose. I just about cope with a one-eyed Daruma doll watching over me, but that's all. Nothing new building to pay for? Yeah. Look at this. What a magnificent display case. The cherry wood has been polished to a high sheen, and the intricate carving is a joy to behold. Western cabinet makers really are very skilled, aren't they? Do you have nothing to say about the skeleton inside, Mr. Naruhodo? Miss Usada, can't you tell that I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying contents of the case? It's how I cope. I'll be sure to remember that from now on. That looks like an owl and a crow up there. I know. They haven't even twitched since we came in here. Well, no, they wouldn't have. They're taxidermied mounts, Mr. Naruhodo. I was afraid you were going to say that. Been trying very hard to tell myself they're just sleeping with their eyes open. Yes, think perhaps you were wise to put something like your Daruma doll on display in the office instead. Is that really all we got here? Checked up there. Check the desk. Ah, the book. Okay. Look at this big, thick book here. Ah, it appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh? What is it? It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but, well, one entry seems rather strange. Really? In what way? They're buying 500 scalpels every month. 500? They must be working really hard on dissecting corpses. I don't know. Judicial autopsies are only carried out in certain special circumstances. And scalpel blades can be sharpened, too. It does seem a bit strange. You're right. 500 scalpels a month. What could they possibly be using all of them for? That's weird, yeah. What are you doing? Ah! Clearly, she's the best character because she has the snake motif. So, you know, sorry, best character in the game. Sorry, we had something we wanted to ask you, but you weren't here, so... So you thought you'd snoop around. That's acceptable to you people from the East, is it? Damn, is everyone racist? Well, I guess that's points against her, but you know. Well, what do you want? Ah, Lord Strongheart told us, you see. It was you who examined the victim's body. Mr. Assman's body, I mean. Did you peek at the ass? Is there anything you can tell us about the ass? So we came to ask you about your findings, on Lord Strongheart's advice. Very well. If the Lord Chief Justice has given his consent, I'll tell you what our investigation revealed. But when we're done, you must leave immediately. What did you find? So, you want to know what the forensics investigation team determined from an examination of the scene? Yeah, we do. The victim, Mr. Odie Assman, who disappeared from the experimentation stage amid an explosion, and the Mr. Assman who appeared moments later partway up the Crystal Tower, were without question one and the same person. What? No. How could you... It's not possible! Either you're finding false information, or he has an identical twin. Mr. Clean Ass Man. But that can't be right! If it was an elaborate trick, we can only speculate about how it was carried out. Let's see. If two people who looked very similar to each other were involved, they could have made it appear as if one single person had switched places, couldn't they? Very true, but sadly in this instance, that was not the case. How could you possibly know? The man who disappeared and the man who subsequently reappeared was the same person. How can you know that? How can you have scientific, credible evidence of the before and after of it? The fingerprints at the scene are not quite evident. Ah, fingerprints. They're not yet officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British justice system, but one day they will be used as an investigative aid as a matter of course. Oh my, but that would mean the instantaneous kinesis actually took place. So, where does that leave us? My team is tasked with investigation, not drawing conclusions. I mean, that's fair. Instantaneous kinesis is impossible, yet the body did move from one place to the other. This hasn't cleared anything up at all. It's made the whole thing even more of a mystery. Yeah, that doesn't really... Mama, what is this? Ugh! Where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama? This is a lawyer, dear. Oh. Hello. To meet you. Pleased to meet you. Yes, I'm a defense lawyer. Ryunosuke no Mama. Yes. Can I cut this one up? What? I've never seen inside an Eastern person before. I want to know what it looks like. Of course you can't. It's a live specimen, as you can very well see. You'll have to kill him first. Huh. Boring. We're at, definitely not hot snake lady has a definitely not psycho daughter who wants to see what a Eastern man looks like inside. That's where we are. Huh. Boring. I think I just had a near-death experience. Oh dear, Mr. Naruhodo, you're as pale as a corpse. Then let's leave before I'm mistaken for one. Well, damn. Yeah, probably a good leaving time, ain't it? Where do we even go? Still think we're gonna need something here. Launchpad game? Shh, good luck. Alright. Honestly, you can probably beat it in a week. I don't want that pressure on myself, so I'm gonna wait. But, like, I honestly believe you. So, what are you doing at the moment, Doctor? Keeping a close eye on things so no impertinent Easterners think they can look around my office. Are there such impertinent Easterners around? How terrible. Yes, you. She doesn't mince her words, Miss Usato. I think perhaps it's time we left. Well, excuse me. Oh yeah, no, smart. It's better to leave it for a little bit and come back than to, you know, skip out on stuff. So I'm fairly sure we're done with the stage. I don't think we have anything new here. There's got to be something we need to rub on someone. Or something happens here or here. No, I guess we gotta rub something on someone. Let's see. I don't think any of these are gonna matter. They never do, but we're here. Do you know, I honestly thought I might never have the opportunity to return to Great Britain. And certainly not so soon. It's funny, for the past 6 months I haven't been able to work in court. Meanwhile, you've been raising a storm in the Supreme Court of Judiciary back in Japan. Please, Mr. Naruhodo, I may have been dressed as a man, but it was a very reserved performance. So what your father said in his letter about a Ryutaro takedown is reserved? Well, anyway, I'm back here in this great capital now, and ready to assist you again. Leave the Hollywood sign burned? I guess. Thank you, Miss Susato. It's my pleasure, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright, well that didn't help at all, but I didn't expect it to. Okay, so there's nothing here, no one here, prison. Oh! We do have a photograph we can rub on somebody, and a birdcage, both of which point to him. Professor Harebrained, what do you mean? Okay, so not him. It's just we need to promote. Yeah, no, not this one. Yep, gotcha. Not helpful. Bye. How about this one, though? Nope! Alright. So his harebrained schemes aren't helpful here. He gave us that, so I doubt he has anything to say, and that's from before. I don't know if she'll have anything to say about any of these. Wooden birdcage. Nope. I like the idea that she pickpocketed the entire wooden birdcage from us. Just, you know, to prove she could. Photograph? Nope. Card? Aha, about this, Gina. Yeah, I'm still learning me letters at the moment. I only know ADE, so if it ain't too much bleeding trouble... Ah, actually, Gina? It's the back of the card that's important. Eh? How come? Just a dirty old smudge in the back, that's all. Turns out that this is very high quality French machine oil. It has a very particular scent, apparently. You don't say. Let's have a whiff then. You sure? I don't smell nothing. No, we didn't mean that you should smell it. Oh, right! You mean Toby! Yeah, the dog! Stole all the pockets, yes. The sense of smell is so good he can track people over the oceans, can't he? Professor Harebrained informs us that this oil is unique to Mr. Drebber's workshop. And France. The dog might just leave us to France. But, you know, it's fine. I think he's picked up a scent. So you mean, if he follows the scent of this oil, Toby could lead us to that dodgy Co's workshop? That's right. That's exactly what we were hoping. Alright then, we'll give it a go. I'll just borrow that. What? Wait, when did you... Once a pickpocket? If I can lead everyone to that Drebber's workshop, I'll be the boss's boss before next week. Oh yes, Gina. I'm sure you'll be promoted. Poor Gregson. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's the Red Ranger gets isekai'd one. Yeah, I was with Calico and Afros. They went down the list and picked anime for the season to watch today. Most did not make the cut. Oh, I am so disappointed. Did you know that this season has a new Aquarion? But it's... Oh, man, it's just so ugly. It's just so bad. They're doing it in like a bad chibi style. It's like if they took chibis and panty and stocking art style and mashed them together and took the worst of both of them and went, yeah, this is what we should do for Aquarion. We shouldn't, you know, ruin a new show. We should make a new season of Aquarion and just make it like even if you ignored how it looked, no part of the trailer sounded like I wanted to watch it. No part of the description or the trailer was like, oh, wait, oh, no. The mechs are still not chibi, so there's something, but like... One of these days, I'm just going to Discord stream Season 1 and 2, or Aquarion and Aquarion Evil. Because they're acquired tastes, but they're tastes I've acquired, and I like them a bunch. Really annoyed they messed up Aquarion. Kinda shocked that they would even make another Aquarion, but really shocked that if they were going to do it, they were going to do it really half-assed and bad and change everything about it and have it basically be Aquarion in name only, and, you know. Like, there's a lot to like about Aquarion. However, to somebody watching the show for the first time, what they're going to notice is, wow, every time those three Transformers, or those three Zords merge together into a Megazord, all the pilots have an orgasm. And so clearly somebody went, make them chibi. That's what this needs. This is that. Like, again, I ain't saying Aquarion and Aquarion Evil are 10 out of 10 the greatest animes ever made. They got some issues. Not everybody's going to like them, but I liked them. And this is just nothing of what I liked. And I could tell that from a minute-long trailer. There's also a Grisea anime? Is that the visual novel you like? But it's the second one. And it looks absolutely, yeah. It's whatever the second one is. Fruits, maybe it was Fruits the first one. I could check the list, but we saw the trailer for it. It looks animated, very much in a style of Monogatari. It's got the Monogatari like mouth, if that makes any sense. Like you look at the characters' faces animated, you're like, Monogatari, Monogatari. So, yeah, that's apparently coming out this season. That's about it. I guess there's a bunch of other stuff, but yeah. A lot of romances, a lot of romantic comedies, a lot of, you know, anime-ass anime. A lot of stuff that doesn't look very good. Alright then, Odo, leave it to me. Sorry. Get going after that dodgy engineer Cove right this minute. Trigger, okay. There you go. Oh, but hang on. Somebody's supposed to be on guard duty here at all time. I'm afraid we can't help. We need to get on with our investigation as well, Gina. Oh, right. Oh well, never mind. It ain't gonna be me what gets in the neck. It'll be the boss. Poor Gregson again. Ready, Toby? Get that oil sent, have you? Come on then, boy. See you later. And off she goes. Terrible's fruit was at least? Okay. Yeah, they did make a fruit anime. I don't know anything about it, but like the description mentioned like sequel to. Do hope the scent of that oil leads them to that swindler's workshop. Yes, I hope so too. Ideally before the dog swims across the channel to France. Well, I think we've done all the investigating we can here for now. If we could just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Drebber, I'm sure Gina and little Toby won't let us down. Now then, do you think we ought to try to speak with Mr. Sholmes at this point? We have things to discuss, and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months. At least linear, like half as long. Okay. It is good. Beautiful watch, yeah. Yeah, I wasn't actually... I'll have to check what shows I actually decided to pick up, but it wasn't a lot. I want to find him at Madame Tuspel's. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit. Yes, Iris told me all about his latest unusual venture. Alright, well, to the Tuspel's. Yeah, it seems that way, but whatevs. How it goes, I suppose. 23rd October, Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxworks. Here we are again, at the House of Horrors. Great, I haven't got used to the place yet. Oh yeah, definitely watch the trailer, and I don't know if you've watched any Monogatari, but see if you agree, because maybe it's just me, but I definitely got, like, it gave me the vibes of Chaos-style characters animated by Monogatari animators, which it's not. However, that was the vibe I got. I'd like to turn on my heels and go straight home via the confectionery, of course. Oh, is it the same artist? Cool! I was right! That checks out. I was like, those really look like some Chaos characters. Cool. So, oh yeah. Mahjong stuff. I think one of the ones they definitely picked up is the medical murder mystery one with the Grisea. Oh, okay, that checks out then. Gotcha. So it makes perfect sense that they look similar in facial structure and features. Cool. Awesome. That makes a lot of sense then. Susato-san really is after something sweet today, isn't she? Eek. What's the matter? Look, Mr. Naruhodo, look at that waxwork. Quite sure it wasn't there before. It looks exactly like Mr. Sholmes, down to the very last detail. Aha! What is it? Oh, sorry. I think you'll find that's the temporary waxwork himself. Now that you're thinking about it, there's literally no hope they'll get it right. Yeah, that. Damn it, I can't unhear the frickin'. I can't unhear. The welcome to the House of Freaks. I can't unhear it. It's just how this song starts. It's how it starts, okay? I can't. Really slow shins so nothing happens. Ah, okay. Yeah. And to fit it into 12 episodes. It has a Labyrinth vibe, but the opening notes are... Okay, hold on, pause. Hold on. Did you watch a Series of Unfortunate Events, the TV show? Okay, gotcha. I was about to say. I mean, yes, the instrumentation and everything, 100% sounds labyrinthian. I was honestly thinking a similar thing earlier. I was playing Goody Two Shoes, Little Goody Two Shoes, and the music and the instrumentation of it sounded very Disgaea, which is, you know, also very Labyrinth too. It's 100%. I think it's the little bits of the bells. It's like just the way it's composed. Maybe it's the same composer. I don't know, but it's got that vibe, 100%, undeniably. The friend of my dedicated employee. Ah, yes. Hello again. It's Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I must say, I'm quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel. King Mugelmog? Is it? It's not King Mugelmog. It's not the first one that came to my mind, but like, I'm not saying it wrong. My precious waxwork is already back where it belongs. You don't mean... But yes, the mystery is solved already. Wow, Mr. Sholmes can really engage his brain when he's hungry enough. So as you can see, he has returned to his habitual duties. Yes, his habitual duties. I saw. How's it going? Well, like, excuse me, sorry. You said you had some idea for them. Like, what's the idea? Did not go minions. That's fair. Yeah. They clearly have other stuff they can do. They have mentioned that specters are coming, which I'm very excited about. Not in this upcoming patch, but specters are coming, which is good. I'm glad those are coming back. Specters are always fun. Though somebody will eventually just metagame out what the best one is, and you know, but it's fun. Wraith C, the return. Yes. Specters are Path of Exile's version of Diablo's Reanimate, or Revive. You pick an enemy you've killed and you bring it back to life. It's like a spectral version for you. Detonate Dead is still there. I use Detonate Dead as like supplemental damage for my minion character right now. The intent is to eventually drop it, but... My crossing viewing community's reaction to Phantom Trade against Dragon Soul. Oh, the Infernalist? Yeah. I'm an Infernalist on my minion character, but I don't take that part of it. Yeah. No. Yup. Yes. You absolutely can install. And again, since you can take spells from other people, like, nothing's stopping you from making a witch, but playing a fire caster. I mean, awesome. Hell yeah. If you think it's a direct sequel to the OG when reality it's only vaguely related? Oh, okay. I mean, I can see why, without reading the visual novel, people would be confused about that. I would think it was a direct sequel. You know, without knowing better. With Chaos Miasma. Okay. Pure chaos damage. I loves me some chaos damage. It definitely doesn't hurt for you, Potts, that chaos damage is generally purple themed. So, like, you know, not a terrible thing. Yeah, it sure is. I assume by now you've got either... I haven't actually paid attention. Even though I leveled a witch, I was actively not doing chaos stuff. But I imagine you've got either Blight or Contagion by now, and those sure are fun. At least in PoE1, I assume they work similarly. Also, Potts, clicking it at you this time. It's fine. It's fine. SSL. Yeah, minions are... Potts Ramen, you missed. Potts came in earlier when I was distracted by Ark, and Potts like, why is it always Ark when we're distracted? I was like, that is a false claim. It is equally a lot of people. I mean, it's all me, let's be honest, but I absolutely can, Potts. It's Path of Exile's fault. Sure. Okay. That is the common thread, to be fair. But hell yeah, I hope the witch goes well. Chaos damage has always been a fun time. Chaos damage and the ability to dragon install. I mean, why the hell not? Like, why not? I am considering the variety we have in current class and subclass archetypes. I can't wait to see what the third ascendancies are for characters and what the other 5-6 characters have in store. Can't wait. Think it's going to be a blast. Lords, do not disturb, eh? I'm going to disturb him. Watch us disturb him. Or Susato-san. She looks very perplexed. Maybe trying it. Oh, totems. Yeah, I've always had a good time with totems. I don't know what I'd put on them anymore, but like, yay totems. Let's go, bother. Poke him right in the eye. I really do need to speak with Mr. Sholmes, and I'm longing to say hello again. But where is he? I think you might find he's quite nearby, actually. Oh. What are you... Indeed, my dear fellows, it is I! The world-famous Greek detective and waxwork Herlock Sholmes. I think he just broke Susato. Susato-san! Susato-san! Yeah, he just broke her. She was already on edge because of the House of Horrors, and it's... She's just dead now. And now
He might actually be dead.
My most humble apologies. I thought I'd died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment. Via London. My dear madam, allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty free deduction at some point. So long as it's not of questionable street food quality. I don't understand. Why are you working as a waxwork here, Mr. Sholmes? Merely a secret identity, you understand, though the case is largely solved now. Largely solved? We're talking about the waxwork abduction episode. Indeed we are, my good fellow. As I predicted, it was as easy as proverbial pie. Okay. And also, probably pies, yes. Almost certainly. Though I confess I've yet to partake of a pie, proverbial or otherwise, or any food so far today for that matter. Poor guy. That stomach rumble echoed around the whole museum. So, how did you manage to solve it so quickly? Ah, well, do remember I said it was largely solved. Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone? Oh, yes, it's a most modern invention allowing you to hold a conversation with people far away. In Japan, only the imperial capital and a handful of other cities are connected as yet. This morning, a telephone call was received from here from the perpetrator of the abduction. As such, I was able to negotiate terms, and in the end, the waxwork was returned. I get the feeling that seeing this waxwork will be a eye-opening experience, and definitely not plot relevant. Oh, I let that steep way too long. That's very bitter. I put a good amount of honey in there, too. Definitely let that steep too long. Ah, okay. That's amazing. Just between you and I. It would appear the culprit had always intended to return the soul and waxwork in any event. Oh, but I thought whoever was responsible had demanded a ransom, no? Yes, I think perhaps the ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive. But does that not mean... Excuse me, your negotiating was entirely unnecessary? A fact that I must ask you to keep from Madame Tuspel's at all costs. A hungry young Iris awaits my return to Baker Street after all. Poor Iris. Now then, do I sense that you have some business with this great waxwork? Yeah, kinda. Salt does, sugar cut salt. Yeah, it's a slightly newer tea for me that I only got at Christmas and I've only had a few times, and I kind of forgot it was steeping there, so that's all
It's
right.
magic.
You know. We're in the process of trying to track somebody down. Oh! Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. He's a swindler who duped Professor Harebrain and the engineer who built the kinesis machine. A swindler and an engineer. Quite the modern man. He also seems to be a conjurer of sorts, too, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. We really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. We have so few clues to go on. That's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas? I have no data yet. It is a capital mistake to have good ideas before one has data. Yes, you could say that, Ramen. You sure could. How dare you? How dare you? Yes, Drebber's apprentice. Fortunately for you, however, presently I have little to occupy myself and little to fill my stomach. As soon as you find any clue, no matter how small, I shall gladly give you my thoughts on it. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? It's like, multiple times. Of which lie are you referring? My dear Mr. Naruhodo, stay that piercing stare. What is this about? Last winter, when we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship, your words were very clear. So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. You told us that it was a murder. You examined Kazuma-sama's body. Indeed, and wherein lies the problem? We met him earlier today, the victim, Kazuma Asogi. You're quite sure? He was wearing some sort of mask and was apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure. It was Kazuma-sama. You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead. Well, I can only assume I was swept up in the murderousness atmosphere of the moment. But the fellow wasn't dead at all! You scam! Priceless! I don't suppose that performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruhodo? I could believe that the crewman present at the time made a mistake, but not you, Mr. Sholmes. I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. Please, Mr. Sholmes. Tomorrow in court you will find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. For now, I'm afraid that's all I can say. Well, we haven't moved on yet, so I think he also wanted to see the evidence we had. Probably like this one. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes over this photographic print? It is of Mr. Enoch Drebber, the face of the engineer we seek. Well, 10 years ago. Well, all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course, so looking at the photograph won't be particularly instructive. Are you all right, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, forgive me. Very interesting, this. Very interesting indeed. What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You've turned quite pale all of a sudden. I have a suggestion, Mr. Naruhodo. Will you indulge me? Do I have a choice? Oh, well, what is it? As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned, and I personally reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains. Oh yes, the Professor exhibit, isn't it? Would you like to see it for a mere 5 shillings? That's a special, one-time only price, you understand. What? The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Wouldn't you like to see the fruits of my labor? Oh, well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone. The price is a very reasonable 5 shillings. I think you'll find it well worth it. Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes? Surely you need only look at my expression to ascertain of this seriousness is silliness. I can never tell with you. That's the point. Very well, it couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings. Gratefully received. So, the special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse it at your leisure. Well, just get to see what the professor looks like. Well, my money's been spent, so let's go and see the special exhibit. Through these heavy curtains at last. You know, after we actually go through the curtains. 5 shillings we've had to pay. Doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Sholmes slipped the money into his own pocket, does it? No. Ah! We can ask Gina to retrieve it for us, using her special skills. Pickpocketing police officers and diddling detectives. Is this what makes Britain great? Not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands, or chip-loving inspectors. Inspector Gregson comes off rather well in that list, I think. Language, you know. I think it's just that words change meaning over time. 23rd October, Madame Tuspel's special exhibit. Okay. Oh dear, I felt a shiver run down my spine as soon as we walked in here. Miss Susato! I say we turn on our heels and go straight home. Really big confectionery. We certainly can't do that. We paid 5 shillings already. True. Actually, now I'm looking a little more closely. We've paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of the great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place. This must be what Mr. Sholmes meant when he said the case was largely solved. Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there'd be a clue about the engineer in here, didn't he? But where? Since we paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigation, shall we? Yes, we will get what we paid for. Is that fear or frustration that's making Susato-san's voice tremble? This must be the killer, the fiend known as the Professor. Yes, I think so. According to what Madame Tuspel said, he killed 5 victims, all of noble or royal blood. The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the models in this place. I know, it looks like it could start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only it had a head, that is. Perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. Like its headlessness. $11 in modern music. Jeez, alright. So this is the condemned man. Yes, the so-called professor. Then perhaps his head was chopped off by a guillotine. But unable to find peace, he emerged from his grave as a headless ghost. Do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Miss Susato? Anyway, I'm sure the model had a head once. There's a metal fitting for it, see? Then perhaps Mr. Sholmes absent-mindedly forget to reattach it? That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it? Or perhaps the thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned it to the museum. No, I think you're right on the second one. And that would be an extremely absent-minded thief. Someone should have started at 50 cents. Yeah, that's fair. Could there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? Well, whatever the reason. It means we don't know what the face of the infamous professor looked like, do we? Oh. There's something caught just inside the convict's jacket here. It looks like a piece of broken glass, and quite a big piece, too. It's very thick, isn't it? About 5 times thicker than normal window glazing, I'd say. Where could such a thick piece of glass have come from, I wonder? I suppose it must have been made thick to increase its strength. But why? Well, perhaps. Because the glass had to span a particularly wide area, such as in a big building, for example. Like a crystal tower. Or something. Yeah, well, we've seen a large glass building recently, haven't we? And some of the glass was broken, too. You don't mean... Exactly. The Crystal Tower, the Great Exhibition. Well, why would glass from the Crystal Tower be lodged inside this waxworks jacket? Makes you think, doesn't it? I never hated Crystal Tower. Honestly, I only hated people who found ways to make it so we only ever ran Crystal Tower so as to dodge, you know, other also more fun instances. But that's not Crystal Tower's fault. That's people sucking. So Graha is here. Piece of broken glass has been entered in the court record. Earlier in court we established that the kinesis experiment was a trick. And now we discover this fragment of glass here in this waxwork. Is it just a coincidence? Yes. Totally unrelated. Yeah, no head. It's still... Would have thought there'd be another part of it. It's gotta be something. It won't let me back. Oh, I guess it will let me back out. This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real. Seems to be a young man in a white overcoat. And he has a large shovel in his hand, too. Look. You mean a spade. Perhaps we should investigate in a little more detail. It'd be a real shame if we could turn... Oh. And look at the face. It'd be a real shame. Real shame. What's this here? Well, this would appear to be a lens in the middle, so I believe it's probably a camera. A camera? But it's so small! British technology is incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Sholmes' skin prints? I think perhaps you should treat Mr. Sholmes' inventions as exceptions to the rule. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera? I wonder. Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment a dead body came back as a ghost on film. Very likely. I'll just borrow this for a little while, I think. The camera has been entered into the court record. Alright, well, he didn't need it anyway. By looking at the photographic plate inside the camera, we can see what picture was taken. What's a photographic plate? It's a piece of glass coated in a special emulsion that reacts to the light coming in through the lens. If we open the cover at the back of the camera, we should find it. Let's have a look. You should see yourself, Susato-san. Your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? But also, we should definitely not do that, like, here. We should do it in a dark room. We kill ghosts with a camera. Oh, that's true. A camera or a vacuum. Yeah. What a large shovel. He's holding it rather ominously, isn't he? What on earth was the man doing with a shovel in a graveyard in the middle of the night? Mr. Sato? Yes? That's a spade, isn't it? Those series of dots really encapsulate the "I will kill you" that's going through her brain right now. No, it's a shovel. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. We've been through this, Mr. Naruhodo. It's a shovel. No. Although, we haven't considered trowels. No, trowels are smaller and that's not a trowel. The trowels are definitely like hand shovels, like little... for gardening, smaller. Don't add it. Don't. We've allowed ourselves to be distracted, I feel. Perhaps we should concentrate on what the man was doing with the implement. So we're going to bury the hatchet. You're right, though. What was the man doing in the graveyard in the first place? That's the real question. He's clearly shoveling up some trouble. That's quite a large lamp the man's carrying. Or is it a lantern? It's not unlike a Japanese chochin? Paper lantern, actually, is it? Lamp, lantern, chochin. Point is, it casts very little light. To be walking alone in a graveyard at night with only this. Well, I certainly couldn't do it. I'm not sure I could visit a graveyard at all, even in broad daylight, to be honest. Well, that's just weakness, then. Ah, yes. Crotch. Ah, hello. Can't see his face very well, can you? Perhaps if I just... Oh, do you think you should be manhandling the exhibits, Mr. Naruhodo? I'll put it back exactly as it was, don't worry. Oh, he just turned it around. Ah! What on earth? Shuffle on his feet, I think of it. Don't tell Naruhodo that. How can... I don't believe it. A black monocle! Mr. Naruhodo, is it possible that this man is... Yes. I like that we apparently do know what he looks like in modern day, even though all we've seen of him is a 10-year-old photograph and a 10-year-old wax sculpture of him 10 years ago. We could just be like, that's what he would look like age up. That. Right about there. Spades have a flat tip because they're for breaking hearts off. Oh, okay. That checks out. Again, don't tell Naruhodo that. It's Eunuch Drebber! The color of his hair is different, but it's unmistakably him. Indeed it is. Mr. Sholmes! Clearly. This man is the subject of your present hunt, I believe. Yes, that's right. Just who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit? And why does the convict behind him have no head? The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it. What a surprise. So then the case isn't yet solved, is it? Did I not say so myself? Largely solved were my words, I believe. But I must locate the missing head. Talk de suite, as Madame would say, or I'll be in grave trouble. Very hungry Iris still awaits my return to Baker Street, preferably with rations. Do you know, though? Something about this room is strange. Strange? What do you mean? Well, the displays in the House of Horrors were supposed to depict real events, are they not? Indeed they are, Mrs. Hutto. Do go on. And, as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one... This surely couldn't ever have really happened, could it? I think it's time I educate you a little. About the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago. Alright, well, have at it then. I believe I told you a little about the professor yesterday, did I not? He took the lives of 5 victims, every one being either a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound and had their throats ripped from their bodies. Oh. You don't say. Oh gosh, an enormous hound? How awful. After taking the life of his 5th victim, the killer was apprehended. It was a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain. You understand. Accordingly, the professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted. Closed court? So you mean that the professor's identity... As you surmised, my dear fellow, his identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty and was summarily sentenced to death by hanging. He was buried in a grave at the Lowgate Cemetery, which adjoins the rear of the prison, where he had been held. However, that was not the end of the affair. Oh. The very night that he was buried, the convicted man came back to life. Came back to life? He clawed his way out of the ground and emerged into the moonlit graveyard. The exhibit here depicts that very scene as described by the sole witness to those chilling events. Excuse me. There was a witness. But of course, my dear fellow. It was none other than the young man in the white overcoat. Eunuch Drebber. You saw it happen. The young witness. So this is a waxwork model of Eunuch Drebber. 10 years ago, the convicted professor, having been gibleted and buried, emerged from his grave in the dead of night. The sole witness of that unimaginable scene was this young man, who has gone on to do nothing but swindle and lie to people about things. So it seems we should definitely take his word about everything he said. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old. So horrifying. Scared out of his wits, the young Drebber ran to a nearby police station to report the incident. And the sheer terror of what he'd seen is said to have turned his hair white overnight. Yes, as shown in the photograph we have of him, his hair is completely white. For the following few days, the story of what he'd seen was on every front page in the capital. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who'd come back to life. I always wondered if that was something that ever actually happened. Like, you always hear about that in, like, tales and movies and whatever. Like, they were so scared their hair went white permanently overnight. Can that happen? And, like, why? What is the part of, like, got the heli costume? Oh, cool. So did I. I just AFK'd and somebody streamed for 4 hours earlier while we were having lunch and doing stuff. So, like, what's the buy? I haven't even tried Hela yet, and I have 2 costumes for it now because there was a free one in the previous season pass. Like, what part of, like, human biology? Yeah, no, I have gray hairs. I got a bunch of them, but, like, it did not happen overnight. So, and that's just a natural part of aging. Not everybody gets gray hairs as they get older, but it seems most people do, and that's fine. But, like, what part of, like, the human fear response could lead to gray hair? Like, to be fair, I don't know what part of the human biological system leads to graying hairs as you get older either. I don't know. But, you know, maybe I should Google this after stream. It was just one of those things that it always caught me as like, how? Why would that happen? Now, if you told me somebody was so scared that their pants instantly browned, yeah, I get that. I understand. Not instant, it's reversal once the stress goes away. Interesting. That is really interesting because I wouldn't have expected that either. Like, that still leads to the question of, like, what part of, like, fear/high stress leads to that. However, stress fucks you up, man. Like, high stress stuff, it's insane. I'm pretty sure I've told this before, and I'll definitely skip out on some details because it's not my stuff, but a friend of mine was very much years ago, before 2020, having really serious heartburn issues to the point where, like, they thought it was, like, really medical. Like, they woke up one night with heartburn so bad they thought it was a heart attack. Like, we're talking bad, lobster, boo, Sora, why did you do this to me? And, like, so they logically went to the doctor. Like, when stuff's that bad, you go to the doctor. And the doctor was like, it's your diet or something, or we don't know. Honestly, we don't know. Who knows? But, like, it's probably just something. And, like, they gave him some medicine to take, and it just kept occurring. It just didn't stop at all. Funny thing is, though, when the pandemic happened and they eventually quit their job in retail, it's gone away and it's never come back. Never once. Not once ever has it come back since then. It just went away on its own. And it's just like, oh. Yeah. Stress can just do that to a person. It's so messed up. Like, yeah. It's insane. And, like, I've worked retail, obviously, and, like, clearly it stressed me out. And, like, the amount of just little things that, like, I notice in my life that are just like, oh, yeah, that doesn't happen anymore, does it? Nothing as huge as that, mind you. But, like, Yeah. It sounds like, I mean, it sounds like you're doing better and you work for a better company. So, like, that helps a bunch. And I also think, I mean, it really sounds like, if anything, your older job would have done that to you. It sounds like you were drastically more stressed at that job than you are now, Potts. At least from what I've heard. So, like, you know, from a stress point of view, it really does seem like you have moved up noticeably. Which, I mean, only you can know for sure, but it sounds like things are better. For absolutely. So, you know, I also hope it doesn't end up that way, but at least in the moment you're doing better, and that's, can't say no to that. Can't say no to that. Man. Oh, at home. Well, yeah. Unfortunately, that's unavoidable. Like, I'm sorry. The stress at home is worse. Not that it's something I've encountered frequently in my life, but yeah, that's... I'm sorry. I'm sorry that's still going on, because that was going on a ways back, too. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yay, video games and other distractions, I suppose. But yeah, fucking stress, man. But yeah, this all started because of white hair, yeah. To be fair, this was a tangent the game put us on, in my defense. Yeah, but at least you're not getting it from the job. If you were getting it from both, if you were getting that level of stress from the job and then coming home to that same level of stress, I'm not saying it's good how you got it, but I am saying that would be worse. I'm saying that would be actually worse. Is it a silver lining? No, but like, something, I guess. I don't think it's anything really. No, I understand. It's, yeah. True, like, different types of stress, but that's huge. That absolutely affected my dad. When he worked in the city and lived in Connecticut, that was a 45-minute drive with no traffic in the morning. But it was a, depends on the day of the week, 1 to 3 hour drive back every day. Oh, LA is way worse, yeah. LA traffic is abysmal from what I hear. I've never been to LA, never been to California, never been to the West Coast at all, but I've never heard anything good about LA traffic, and that's coming from somebody who's been to New York City. And New York City traffic is well known to be bad, but I'm pretty sure LA traffic is well known to be worse. That's just factual. It's funny, in the first season of Futurama, Fry drops the accurate and very true line that nobody drives in New York City, there's too much traffic, which is 100% correct. And also as absurd as it sounds. But it's 100% true. Like, it's just how it goes. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who'd come back to life. As you've seen, an exhibit was even created here at Madame Tussauds. I can quite understand why the man's hair turned white, certainly. What I don't understand is what Mr. Trevor was doing in the first place. In a lonely graveyard in the middle of the night. Yes, what was he up to? Should drive down Parkland Road. Yeah. That's nuts. I am so happy to be working from home. Especially because the closest place that I would have been able to work for my company was in Queens, which wouldn't have been that bad when I lived in Queens, but now that I do not, that would be a shitty commute every morning. Really shitty commute. I would hate that a lot. A whole lot. I could do it, but I would hate it. Choose like that. Tampa. Oh, I believe that. And any really big American city is gonna have trash, like, traffic issues. Oddly enough, do you know what's one of the most messed up ones? Boston. If you've never driven or been on the roads in Boston, it is insanity. Because, like, the traffic in New York is bad, but if you're on the roads in New York, you know where you're going. New York is a grid. If you're at 2nd and 125th, you know where you are. If you need to get to 5th and 40th, you know how to get there. Boston is an amalgamation of convoluted one-way streets that lead you all frick over the place in circular patterns that nobody can make heads or tails of. I'm sure nowadays with GPS it's a lot easier, but like, New York was set out to be a navigatable city. Boston was laid out by drunks, drinking and spinning around in their drunkenness and planning all the roads. It is a mess. I don't hate Boston. I've only been twice. I've enjoyed my time in Boston. However, driving in Boston is hell. Hell. You can be like, okay, I'm here and I need to get there, so I need to take this road to that road to that. Like, it's so convoluted. Oh, I was in the time of having to pull out maps. I was also in the time of just looking it up on like GeoCities and printing out those instructions and having the like paper instructions. But I'm old enough to do both of those. Colorado's not so bad. Denver. Commute by foot most days. Oh, okay. Yeah. A quick commute like that isn't too bad. Access to Grang is sample size was literally 14 people. Well, yeah, like how many people? Like it's a known stereotype, but like how many people really get scared enough that their hair actually goes white? Like even if we assume it's a thing that can happen, it clearly isn't common. Yeah. Suddenly becomes something. Oh, for sure, yeah. OG cities laid out with no plan and everything around it is on a hard grid. Oh, weird. Okay. Yeah, like, if I ever get a car and I'm driving around, I will probably have a paper map in the car somewhere for that 1 in a million chance worst case scenario where I would need it. Where I'm lost in a place where there's no charging, where there's no electricity, where I'm not getting signal and my phone is dead. Am I great at reading maps? No. Could I manage it? Yes. And it's one of those things that for like a few dollars just keeping in the glove compartment, it's like, why not? It's just one of those things I would keep, even though I realize I'd almost certainly never use it. The instructions unclear. Dick caught in the fan. Yes, that's how it goes. Yeah, there's definitely a bunch of things I would have. Well, yeah, how do you know which way was north, though, Sor? How do you know which way is north? Do you have a compass? Gotta be prepared for zombies. I don't think the map's gonna help with zombies. North is up. You know what? I can't argue that. North is up. You're right. Just pick a direction and say it's north. How would you keep true to that path? One of the most, in my opinion, one of the most memorable and one of my favorite Mythbusters episodes is where they actually tested how accurately a human being can walk in a straight line without, references and whatnot. Like, they were blindfolded, but if you're walking through like woods or at night or something like that and not following a road, let's say, and the answer is it's awful. You can't. You don't. You think you're walking straight. You, the human being, go, I am walking straight, but you're not, and you're super not. And like, yeah, that's why they tell you to basically like, stay put if you're lost in the woods, because like you don't know which way you're going, and you think you're walking in a straight line, but you are not at all in any way walking a straight line. Now, if you had a compass or something, not only would that tell you north, but it would also allow you to, whatever direction you pick, stay true to that. That's fair. If you have something to follow, that's a different story. The arrow will point true. Hiking paths. Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah. It's thankfully not something I've ever had to worry about, but like, yeah. That's why you don't see as much of it in like American cinema, but you see a lot more of it in like European cinema, because like the woods there are like woods. Here in America we have like, oh look, it's a little wooded area, but in like Europe you have the woods, and if you go into the woods and you are not prepared for the woods. You can have a very bad time. Not to say there aren't places like that in America, but like I feel like there's definitely way more in Europe of that. It's not to be taken lightly. But also, strange graveyard happenings. The professor's acts of terror threw London's upper classes into complete panic 10 years ago. It was a great scandal, one might say, at the very highest levels of society. And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumors abounded. After all, no killer had ever before systematically employed a dog as a weapon of murder. Yes, I can imagine the impact the case must have had. But in time, of course, the rumors abated. We play the game for like 40% of the time. We've done better than that, but we've had a few tangents. But I've definitely... This is not my most tangented night, by any stretch. So too did talk of the shocking witness account of the convict who came back to life. It was forgotten, dismissed as a dubious ghost story, as a preposterous parlor tale. Yeah, no, we've had some tangents. But why did people stop believing it? Why? Simply because there was no resurrection to speak of, as was established in fact. What do you mean by no resurrection? The police investigated the grave in Lowgate Cemetery and published their findings. The convict's body was found to be buried exactly where it had been following the execution. No, but that would mean Mr. Drebber must have lied to the police and newspaper, the person we're looking into for actively lying. And swindling people and faking deaths could have been lying. No, I don't believe it. That would appear to be the only logical explanation, yes. The young man subsequently vanished from society, and nothing has been heard of him since. It's rather striking, then, that he should resurface now, don't you think? Two buttons and watching horrors from your purple mist. Oh, man. Again, I haven't tried it in PoE 2, but PoE 1, ED Contagion, it's satisfying as hell. You put the little circle on him and you shoot a tiny little bolt at him and it just goes... And they're gone. And they're just gone. There's nothing left. There's nothing left but a vague purple mist where they once were. Oh, it's glorious. It's so good. Of course, the convicted murderer couldn't really have come back to life. That's not possible. That's what happens when you cast it too often. You start drowning in your own toxic purple mist. It makes sense. The Drebber's hair is unusually white, and if that really did happen overnight as a result of shock, it's hard to believe the incident was an out-and-out lie. Ah! What the bleeding Norodo? What have you gone and done? Gina, what are you doing here? I asked Iris, and she said this is where you'd be, so... Gina, not so loud in the museum. Madame Tuspels will have you take a position as a waxworker if you're not careful. I think there might be a more pressing concern. I still had some flash powder left from 6 months ago, so... Gina, we understand, but please, put down the gun. Yes, please do. She does have a great grumpy face. Sorry, I got distracted. You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So... Objection! What brings you here, Gina? What brings me here? What do you think? We found it! We found that dodgy Co's workshop. What? You found Drebber's workshop? Yep. Toby's nose took me straight there. The boss and the others are heading over there now in a drag. So come on! Here's the address. I got the boss to write it out. See, I have to assume that is period slang for like a cop car, but I just imagine like all the police going over there in drag and just showing up kicking down the door. It's the address. I got the boss to write it out. Oh, thank you, Gina. We'll make our way there at once. Alright then, see you there. How are you going to get there before? Why not? Okay. You go. Don't mind me. I'll just stay here. Being still. What? I know my place. In the exhibit over there. Oh dear. Someone is feeling sorry for himself. Let's go, Mr. Sholmes. You're coming. Your words hearten me, I must say. But if I were to shirk my duties here, Madame would have me pay monetary recompense, and Iris's dinner plate would be empty once more. Forget that. I'll pay for everything. Then there's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail a carriage at once. You hack. No offer to share the cost for Mr. Sholmes, then. I shall gladly pay half, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Miss Susato. Right, let's go. Oh, man. 23rd October, Enoch Drebber's workshop. That looks like... Oh, it's another super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Really just rolls off the tongue, don't it? Indeed, it would appear so, though only a prototype, naturally. Ah, so you got here then. Gina, well done for finding this place. And in such little time. You've really worked miracles. Dobie here is the miracle worker. Ah, thought you lot would show up before long. Hello, Inspector. That's one needed brow. Yeah, no kidding. You can do A game? Yeah. Yeah. Or third, yeah, either or. Take your pick. He looks like he's eating a lemon, not a bag of fish and chips. So, Inspector, is there any sign of the engineer? Sadly not. Sadly not. We didn't find a soul in here. Oh, what a shame. So found out they can make chips extra crispy? Fun. Good. Well, thank you for letting us know about this place and giving us a chance to investigate. According to what Gina tells me, we only found it thanks to a clue that you lot turned up. I wouldn't want to say, go to Paris with a debt of gratitude unpaid now, would I? Thank you. Anyway, if you're hoping to snoop around in here, I'd get cracking. Lord Van Zeeks and the forensic investigation team are on their way here as we speak. Them again? I imagine you got the picture by now. They don't take too kindly to lawyer types. Right. So then, my dear fellow, let's turn this place upside down whilst we have the chance. And you, Sholmes. Pardon? They take even less kindly to great detectives than they do to lawyers. Very droll, Garrickson, very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than an inconspicuous waxwork model. Right then, let's see what we can find in here. They're not mashed potato sticks. Makes sense. See, it depends. I feel like I like a variety of fries, so... The crispy ones are good, but it's definitely possible to be too crispy. But it's also, I feel like... The types of chips that he has, the like potato wedge fries, I kind of want them to have a little more like potato-y substance in the middle. Yes, I want the outside to have a little like snap to it, a little crack to it, but I'm kind of okay with those being a little mushier because it kind of fits for it. So, you know. They got fries there. Ah, okay. I've never had like traditional chips then. So the thick ones, like steak fries with chips. See, I like both. Depends on the mood I'm in. I would disagree with you. Okay. I missed that bit. I would say currently McDonald's is the low on the totem pole for fries. I still enjoy McDonald's food because their app lets a lot of it be cheap and their breakfast sandwiches are fucking great. But their fry game? Around me, it's KFC, Popeyes, Burger King, Wendy's, McDonald's. The KFC fries, the new KFC fries, holy crap. Actually, sorry, KFC Taco Bell. The Taco Bell, right, they're basically the same fries. It's the same place here. But the Taco Bell, they'll sprinkle that, like, nacho sauce on the fries, and that's pretty okay. the Burger King by me has really good fries, but I've been to other Burger Kings and they usually don't. Other Burger Kings are lesser than the one by me. So the KFC fries, really good. And if you get the chance to have Taco Bell nacho fries, also really good. But yeah. The new chicken strips? I like the new chicken strips. I wish they were a smidge cheaper. The food is tasty. Those strips, good. And that comeback sauce that comes with them, good shit. I have not tried Arby's fries. The only time I've had fries at Arby's was when I went for the Good Burger, and those were good fries. So I can't compare it to your standard Arby's stuff, but everything I've had at Arby's has been at least above, like, middle. I hear Arby's get a bad rap, but I honestly enjoyed the Arby's food I've had, which was minimal, but yeah. KFC is expensive, which is why it's really funny that the one by me is attached to a Taco Bell, which is not expensive. So, oh yeah, no, nothing can beat those local, like, small deli, small burger places. You ain't beating those. Yeah, no. I was talking exclusively fast food, not food. An actual, like, deli or burger place or something like that will always win. Always. Or diner, man, almost every diner I've been to has had some phenomenal fries. Always. Like, those are just always better, yeah. That, for a bit, they had a really, when they just introduced these new tenders, they had a really cheap combo for them. It was 3 tenders for $5 with fries. You had to get the drink separate, but, which is funny because right now that that's done with, 3 tenders with fries. KFC has gotten drastically better. It's pricey, but it has gotten drastically better. I still like Popeyes more, but I gotta respect the improvement. Oh yeah, no, it used to be no contest. I would pick Popeyes any day of the week, and like there's a Popeyes only a little further than me than KFC now, but I go to the KFC Taco Bell pretty frequently. The KFC has stepped up their game. Their chicken nuggets are phenomenal. Their chicken nuggets are, for me, bar none, the best chicken nuggets in the fast food business right now. Hard stop. And Potts can agree, because Potts was the one that told me about them. Their chicken tenders, they're a very different fried chicken than Popeyes, but they're very high quality, they're very tasty, they're well seasoned, they're well cooked. Their fries are delicious. Yeah, the main thing, I don't usually do bone-in fried chicken, so I can't speak to that, but I assume their bone-in fried chicken's good. I haven't tried it lately. I can't sit here and be like, I go to fast food every day, because that's a lie. But I also can't be like, I never eat fast food. That would be an equal lie. We go Wednesdays, always, to some place, and I feel like maybe besides that, I'll have 2 meals a week fast food, be it either breakfast, like I'm going to wake up early tomorrow and go before work to get breakfast. Or, like, I'll go out one night for, like, a lunch or something. Or if I go to the card store, I'll go out. So, beans and rice is a fast food and delicious. Me, I'm a sucker for red beans and rice. That's the... Red beans and rice, like, honestly, I usually get the Zatarain's red beans and rice. But, like, if I were to make it more often than, like, once every 6 months, I would just get my own rice and red beans and seasoning. But, like, whatever. The Zatarain's red beans and rice mix with some chopped up smoked sausage. Holy mother of pearl, I love the hell out of that. I love it so much. Yeah. I definitely have it more than once a week, but I definitely am not, like... It's definitely not... I don't think I have a problematic amount of fast food consumption. I think I got close to that when my brother was getting ready to leave, because he had a lot of fast food. And when the house there wasn't really set up to have food made, he'd always come over to this side of town and be like, let's go get some lunch. I'd be like, hell yeah, let's go get some lunch. Yeah, Cajun, I don't know much Cajun food, but anytime I've had some of it, it has been good. Man, food really is the quickest way to just absolutely turn off gameplay, isn't it? I'm just passionate about food, okay? Food is delicious. Most food. To me, not seafood, but you know, that's fine. I've never actually had jambalaya, but I hear good things. My thing is, I have a low tolerance for spice. I have a very white person tolerance for spice. Not super white person tolerance. I have definitely known people who are like, cracked pepper is too hot. And it's like, no. That's not me. Like, a good barbecue sauce, so as long as I have like some blue cheese to like dip buffalo wings into, I like a good like buffalo wing, but that's about my spice high limit. Once you start going over like buffalo sauce, it's like, no, that's okay. I don't need that. Which can be problematic at certain cuisines, if you don't ask for it a specific way. 10 times hotter than normal. Well, that's fair, but I mean normal, basic-ass black pepper, I have definitely known people to be like, oh, that's too spicy for me. And it's like, fair, I can't tell you what's good for you or not, or what you enjoy, but like, I feel like if you can't even handle black pepper, you are missing out on food. As a general concept. If you can't season something with salt and pepper, at the minimum, you're missing out, man. You're just missing out. Alright. But also, if eating black pepper makes you so miserable you don't enjoy the food, then who am I to say force through it? I wouldn't if I were in their shoes. Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, that machine is covered by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. There would be serious repercussions if you were to examine it from the Crown and the government. Yes. If we examine... Well, those two don't seem to be holding back. Yeah, I should cook more often myself, for sure. But, yeah. Odd opinions on onions? Alright. Food marketed as spicy is often less good than food with actual flavor instead. Fair. I would agree with that in general. Yes, but when you complain... yeah. I can see how that would be great, but I can also see how I would not enjoy that. But I can see how, if you can enjoy that, that's the peak. I get that. It's quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices of deception to be seen, my dear fellow. No loose change dropped on the floor, nothing. Not even a bone for Toby here, my dear fellow. British people are very much ruled by their own ideals, aren't they? I think that's just these two, Mrs. Sato. Like, I have cooked and can cook, but I can't claim to spend a huge amount of my time doing so. It is definitely cheaper, for sure, yeah. But, like, it was difficult back home with my family because, generally speaking, they took most of the fridge and cabinet space up, being, you know, the rest of the family, who cooked more often. And that's not really different here. Mind you, I'm sure if I was like, hey, could I have a little bit of space in the fridge and cabinets, I'm sure that would be fine. But, I don't know, it's just that little extra bit of trouble, and like, just, you know, oh, onions, so like, okay, salt and butter. Every time I have ever been cooking something, and somebody's passed by and been like, damn, that smells so good, what is it? It is literally a diced onion sauteing in some oil. Every time. Every single time, maybe with some garlic. Every time somebody's passed by and been like, damn, that smells so good. It's just the first process of something where I'm sauteing an onion. Onions are so good. Growing up, I did not like onions. Growing up, I was not an onion fan, didn't like onion rings, didn't like onions on my stuff. I was wrong. My tastes have finally changed in the better way. And give me onions and everything. Anything, everything. I've never taken a bite out of a raw onion, but I would. At the smallest provocation. I don't think I would do it just on a whim. I think I'd rather cook it. What if somebody was like, take a bite out of this? It's an onion. You won't. I'd be like, yeah, well, let's go. Whatever. Like, I like raw chopped onions on stuff, so, like, you know, whatever. Yes, correct. There are way better uses for an onion. Hate the feel and taste sauteed? Alright. Understandable. It don't bother me, and boy are they tasty. But I get it. That's a mouthfeel thing. Some people just can't do certain textures. Like, most of my family can't do onions just because of the texture of them. They don't hate the taste of onions. They don't hate the concept of onions. But just the texture of them doesn't sit with them. They just can't do it. And I feel that. That's something you can't really argue with. If your body just goes, no, that's not, what are you gonna do? That's how it is. Mashed potato and other similar textures. Really? See, it doesn't bother me at all. I love me some mashed potatoes. Especially the way Calico Dog makes mashed potatoes is basically more garlic than potato, and that is the correct way to make mashed potatoes. Coming from an Italian household, the more garlic it has, the better it is. It's just the facts of the life. Can't do whipped cream. Oh man, I don't have whipped cream often, but like a slice of warm apple pie with whipped cream on it, there are few delights better for me. However, I would get that. If you can't do that type of texture, you can. I get it. Ah, this appears to be most interesting. Yes, most interesting indeed, wouldn't you say? It's an impressive looking back massager, that's for sure. No doubt that if you hit your shoulders a few times with that, your aches and pains would soon go away. It's a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science. A young scientist could wish for no higher honor. Ah. Would you like a massage? No. I'm fine, thank you. I had no idea it was such a grand thing. Yeah, like you can really like make a thicker mashed potato, but I don't know if that would still like trigger that texture thing. But like you could have a chunkier skins on mashed potato for sure. He is a goof. He's a very lovable goof. But he is a very goof. I think it's becoming increasingly clear that there's much more to this Mr. Eunuch Drebber, the conjuring tricks. I couldn't agree more, my dear madam. And how about you, Mr. Naruhodo? Wouldn't you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course. He's not going to let that go, is he? Yeah, he does sometimes, for sure. It's curious, though, isn't it? You'd expect such an important trophy to be proudly on display somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. English gentlemen can be quite a mystery at times. The science trophy has been entered into the court record. Is that the tiny Bronco? What on earth is this? An aeroplane, Mr. Naruhodo. One day, scientists believe it will allow humans to fly freely in the skies. Is that how the trick will be described, is it? Sorry? Well, it's actually suspended by a thin but very strong cable, isn't it? Oh, well, this model is, yes, but a real aeroplane would actually fly high in the sky. Well, suspended from somewhere even higher in the sky, of course. Because large metal objects obviously can't really stay in midair unsupported. Glad I don't agree with him as somebody who's going to be flying for the first time at the end of the month. So do you. The solution is ever taller towers. Well, a man of science he might not be. That's okay. This is... It's a European-style quiver of arrows with steel bolts inside. Oh, do you suppose... Crossbow bolts these, and just the right size for the bow you want turned up at the exhibition grounds. In other words... Yep, that's more evidence to support your theory. It all goes to show that Drebber was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes of the whole scam. Details of the crossbow have been updated in the court record. Just hang from the moon, yeah, Yeah, no, it's not fishing line, it's the Futurama Unbreakable Diamond Tether, obviously. This door doesn't want to open. Yeah, looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it. There's a specialist locksmith on his way over from the yard, so hands off till he gets here. With permission, Inspector. I could have that lock open in less than a minute. He's gonna kick it, or blow it up. Well, you don't have permission. No one's giving it to you. Gregson looked as though he really enjoyed that. Well, there's no sound of anybody on the other side. No, Drebber must have fled at the first sign of danger. Or did he? Oh. Something wrong, Miss Susato? Well, thought I heard a noise on the far side of that door. Well, Gina, do you hear too? Yeah, I heard it. I heard it and all. What do you reckon, Toby? Right, mind the grease. Whoever's in there, open up. This is Scotland Yard. Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna listen. Good going. Oh my, someone is in there. Someone was in there. That's rotten, blatant luck. My dear Gregson, as I said only minutes ago, if only it were continents, I could unlock that door in less than a minute. Fine, I'll take the rap for it. Just get us through that blasted door. Click. There, you may enter at will. You confuse minutes with seconds, I think. Time is of the essence, I feel. What are we waiting for? Nothing for it, I suppose. This is an emergency. There's a strong possibility that beyond that door is the engineer you all seek. Be prepared for action, my dear father. Yes. Oh. Wait, what's happened in here? Why is everything upside down? Rats, there ain't no one here after all. But there must be. It was only moments ago that we heard those noises. Maybe that was the sound of Trevor running away. There's only one door in this room. And no windows that could afford an escape route. Those skylights are too high. Are they? There's footprints up there. What's that up there? Are they footprints on the ceiling? Blow me! Blow me! What do we hear? We're all just gonna ignore that. Okay. Looks like someone's trying to burn something in a hurry. Oh, that looks like a set of blueprints. To what? That Professor Hairbrain's Barbie machine it is. Blimey, if we had these, there'd be no need to muck about trying to investigate all that scrap metal. Something of great interest. There's something of great interest here, too. This rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar. A rope? What's significant about that? Never mind. Thanks. You see, but you do not observe, Mr. Naruhodo. We must investigate the entire room thoroughly, and before the forensic investigation team arrives too. I'm gonna look at the thing. Mr. Sholmes, have you found something? Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, yes, in point of fact, something rather fascinating. What do you make of this? Let's see. Never seen anything like it before. Looks like a bundle of thick cigars wrapped up in a large... Ah! Miss Susato, what's the matter? That's a... Surely that's a time bomb, isn't it? What? What did he say? A time bomb? Sorry, but... What is a time bomb, exactly? You truly are one of a kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I won't take that as a compliment. You don't know nothing, Toyota. You haven't got a clue what it is either, have you, Gina? I invite you to consult a dictionary later, Mr. Naruhodo. But this particular specimen is no time bomb, though I confess it has a very similar appearance. Oh, well, thank goodness. But then, what is it? I see, so that's it. Goodness, Mr. Sholmes, have you seen to the heart of the matter? There are times when I consider my lot most unfair, for I'm fated never to know how it feels to flounder as you do when a puzzle presents itself. You cocky bastard. But I have learnt to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Mr. Sato. Here we go. I feel a great deduction coming. Once again, I can draw two conclusions from the scene we see before us. The first is that the inverted nature of the furniture in this room is the work of Drebber himself. Oh, but how could you? And the second conclusion is that the small device on the floor there is, without question, completely genuine. Please, Mr. Sholmes, you must explain everything. I don't know if we have time. It would be a pleasure. After all, it is a great detective's civic duty to teach Scotland Yard the finer points of the trade. That face. Well, Inspector Gregson seems delighted with the idea anyway. Oh, you deflected the inspector's glare with such fortitude there, Mr. Sholmes. Well done. You're too kind, my dear madam. I hereby dedicate this great deduction to you. Kindly stand just there, Miss Susato. Oh, yes. I'd be delighted. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Alright, I'm getting really hungry, and I was hoping to hit a logical stopping point. So what the logical stopping point is going to be is, we're going to hear his side of things, and then next week we'll fix them. But I want to hear his side of things. I want to hear his conclusions, and then we'll fix them next week. That's what we'll start with. I mean, yes, it's always dangerous. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the tables and chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had until recently been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that? Indeed, the key here is gravity. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. For the gravity in this room was reversed and then suddenly restored to normality. Goodness. The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. I quite understand your skepticism, Miss Susato. I, too, was incredulous at first. However, my conviction in my analysis was cemented when I observed this. An anti-gravity... Oh, we're all dead. We're all gonna die. We're all actually gonna die. We're all actually gonna die in this room. An anti-gravity device almost identical to the one that featured in a dream of mine only the other day, in fact.
Gee whiz.
But then why does it have a clock on it? A most relevant question indeed. It is a timing device that controls when the gravity direction will switch. There was clearly a requirement for the engineer to be able to restore normal gravity automatically. And the commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the door was the moment that restoration occurred. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. So, you see, we need to look no further than to explain the state in which we now find this room. It is honestly more likely that the room can just spin and rotate than it is that he has an anti-gravity device. Also, that's clearly an explosive. We're all gonna die. The direction in which gravity acts in here was reversed by Mr. Drebber before being restored to normality in an automatic fashion sometime later by the timer device. I have witnessed precisely this scene in a dream I once had when I fell out of bed. Of course you dream about gravity and falling. Because gravity was reversed. Sure. Now, let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads. Yes, how is it even possible? How is it possible if there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? Of question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madam. The reason there are footprints on this ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Of course, Drebber's aim was singular, to escape. However, there is but one way into this room, excepting the skylight, that is. Ah. By inverting the gravity in here, Drebber was able to fall conveniently to the ceiling and make his escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving those footprints behind on the wall. But the ceiling in here is very high, Mr. Sholmes. If the gravity reversal was sudden, wouldn't Mr. Drebber have fallen up the ceiling rather violently? Falling up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the man was cornered with nowhere to run, so escape through the skylight was his only option. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. No, the rope. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? By anchoring one end to the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. Which explains how Drebber was able to escape this room before our arrival. He reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now, just for fun. Yeah, set off the anti-gravity device. Go ahead. Go ahead, do it. Just wait till we're all out of the room first. Just wait till we've all vacated, then go ahead. Anti-grav. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. You know what? That's the exact face I want to come back to. It's not the lemon face, but it's a close second. Like, that's just the perfect, like, startup next time, is that. The lemon would be better. But this one's placed better, so it's all good. That's the correct reaction, though. Absolutely. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. This has been Viper Viperland. Tomorrow, Tuesday, Thursday, I do want to finish East before Monster Hunter, which we admittedly have lots of time, but maybe during the week we'll do another Path of Exile stream because that patch will hit, but I don't know if that'll change enough to really matter for me right now. It's a very good quality of life patch, but I don't know if it's going to really change much for me. So we'll say. Not closing tomorrow. Oh, okay. Man, y'all be hating on American cheese unfairly. And hating on me even more unfairly for it. Clearly. It's not fair. No, it's not. Can't believe it. Can't believe it. Yeah, so, yeah, in general, East, we definitely want to try to finish. There's time, but I'd rather finish it early, because then we still have Path of Exile, Marvel. Could always do more Ellen, which is very goofy. Or Nine Souls, for that matter. So, you know. Either way. We'll figure things out. Alright. For now, we have ourselves a monster, a quote, a Discord.
Tell me, for whom do you fight? How very glib. And do you believe
and I guess we already have a what sound effect do we need when we have Gaius in all of his power? I should make that have like a 1 in 50 chance to do the the Joe Cat version. Well, yeah, like a 1 in 50 chance for a woo, and then another 1 in 50 chance to do the Joe Cat one. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. This has been Viper Viperland. clearly being distracted heavily by Path of Exile and food, and playing a little bit of Great Ace Attorney. See you all next time.
Believe them, your guardians. Why do you not repeat the trick that served you so well at Cartano and call them down?